just avoiding him. If he hadn't moved out of the way, there would have been contact. They would have been wrecking down the backstretch. Miller gets on by virtue of that checkup there for the number 2 car of Robertson. So he gets back onto a podium spot, but I just don't think Miller was ready to have to defend like he's had to. Now drafting down the backstretch, a bump draft down the back. I don't think Robertson really wants to fight much right now. He doesn't want to tear that car up. Now 7 laps to go in race number 7 on this season for the Bluegrass iRacing Series. And John Kinder has just looked so good this evening. He's been almost unbeatable. He's been passed a few times, sure, but all because of pit strategy. When it comes down to raw speed, you have not been able to beat this number 21 all night long. He has brought his A game, and he is trying to put the Rims 1, number 21, in P1 this evening. 6 laps to go at Darlington, and this 21 just looks so good. I'm not sure how you try and beat this 21 car the rest of the season because he is on fire.
Yeah, it's kind of like the NASCAR heat game where you would have that momentum. You have about, what was it, about 10 plus horsepower. That's the kind of run that he has because he has just been on fire the last few weeks ever since that run at Pocono. Something lit under his, I thought he was going to fall out for a sec. That would have been a very, very tough pill to swallow for him, but he still drives on. 5 laps to go, and he is just running away with this race, and I don't know how you can beat him unless his internet is starting to go wow. So now, not only are we trying to race to see if he might have the fuel, which he more than likely does, we're also going to try and see if his internet can hold on for these final 5 laps here at Darlington, because apparently it too is taking some wear and tear at the Lady in Black here tonight. And 2 to go for John Kander, and this is the moment he's been waiting for about almost a month. He's come so close to winning these races, but has been being on pit strategy, but not tonight. And now he just has to do 4 more corners, and he's going to take it at the Lady in Black. And what a race to get your first win at, other than the Darlington Raceway. As now, officer number 4, he's going to see that white flag one more time around for the 21 Ford as he looks to take his first career win and cement himself as a championship contender.
About a mile to go for John Kinder. We're riding on board with the driver of the number 21. It's been certainly a roller coaster for him as well. The last few weeks, John Kinder has just looked so good, and finally, it's all going to pay off here at Darlington Raceway in race 7 at 12. John Kinder is going to exit turn number 4 and exit Darlington Raceway, a race winner in the Bluegrass iRacing Series. John Kinder wins at Darlington. And it works out for you here, John. 97 of 184 laps led. And you may not have started on pole, but you were pretty darn close. How does this affect your momentum? Almost winning in every category this evening. I mean, it's been building and building through Indianapolis. You looked great last week. You look even better, of course, this evening. I don't think anybody had you beat on speed. How does this change things going into Bristol, finally having that win?
Well, it's nice to get that first one. These guys are really fast, and Bristol's going to be an interesting race to go to, so it's nice to get one before we head there. I don't know. It's you keep trying and keep digging, and things just haven't gone my way. And tonight they went my way.
Tonight things definitely go your way. Best of luck to you the rest of the season. You've got your challenge cut out for you with Travis Miller, Justin Winters. Those guys are going to be tough to beat. With those drop weeks coming in, obviously the points right now don't totally reflect those drop weeks. Do you feel like you've got that chance at the championship?
Yeah, I think, Brandon's really fast, and he gets to drop 2 races. It's going to bring him closer into the mix, and Justin had a bad race, and he gets to drop races. So I think it's going to be interesting when the drop races get figured in because I think we're all really close. So from here on out, you can't have a bad race.
Well, John, before we let you go, again, congratulations this evening, winning at Darlington. It's tough to do, but you end up taming this place. Who do you have to thank? Who do you have to shout out this evening?
I got to thank Rims 1 for coming on to this for this race and for the rest of the year. And if anybody's in the mood to buy some rims and tires, go check them out on rims1.com. And Ronnie Shirk for painting the car up for me. If it wasn't for him, I'd be running the same old, So I got to say thanks to him. Oh, of course, thanks to you guys for the broadcast and all the guys that put on this Bluegrass race deal. it's a good group of guys. You can tell the races are good, and what they're doing here is pretty fun.
John, once again, thanks for your time. Congratulations this evening. I'm sure we'll be talking to you at Bristol and beyond.
I appreciate it, Andrew.
So that's John Kinder, our race winner, and man, he just dominated this evening, Noah. There was no beating him, but somebody who gave it his darndest was Justin Winters. I'll hand it over to you.
Justin Winters, no Carmichael in the booth. You got a copy?
Got you, buddy. Go ahead.
Well, for a guy who says this is one of his worst tracks, you sure do know how to wheel it around here. Just take us through those last few laps, because you put on quite a show against the likes of Travis Miller and Brandon Robertson to take it home for a second P2 finish in a row in the past 2 weeks. Just take us through that last run up to the checkered.
Yeah, they were battling pretty hard, and I was trying to be patient, and I got a run on it, and it was the point of the race where I wasn't going to lift, and basically we all race clean, but at the end of the race you got to take every run you can get, especially at Darlington, a track that I severely struggle at, and it's hard to pass. You got to take every run you get, and that's what we did. We made a pretty bold move to overtake Brandon for second. Travis fought hard, but we were able to finish ahead of him.
Well, as we talked about last week, after the disappointing loss to Indianapolis.
Sound art is a product that is a speaker and it's art. We combine it together and we call it sound art. What makes it so unique that any picture can be your speaker? Sound art gives you the high quality sound without the ugly speaker. This isn't a picture with a speaker, the picture is the speaker. Just imagine your wedding picture uploaded onto a canvas, and now it's speaking 10,000 tunes. I mean, it's a very cool concept. What we like so much about it that you can take anything that means something very special to you, upload it on the canvas, have it hanging up in your room, your balcony, wherever you want to put it, and now it's a speaker. I mean, how cool is that? It's something that we have that and no one has. No one has this product. It's just a great gift to give anybody. It's just a neat concept. Around here we say, art never sounded so good.
Essential to any iRacing league utilizing NASCAR stock cars is the Last Great Colosseum. Not that you need me to tell all of you about the history behind this storied half mile, but Bristol is simply on every circle track driver's bucket list. Whether it was Rusty Wallace or Darrell Waltrip, Dale Earnhardt or Terry Labonte, or Jeff Gordon or even Kurt Busch, Bristol has always been sure to excite, allowing the cream to rise to the top, yet also being so willing to take away at a moment's notice. The Bluegrass iRacing series has been adding to their own history books, leaving new classics behind along the way. And after a strategic thriller at Darlington, the stars and the cars of the Bluegrass ride into Thunder Valley, ready to do battle. Welcome, race fans, to PitStop TV. As usual, we're live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter tonight. Joe Donahue with me in the booth. Noah Carmichael on social media coverage. I am Andrew Cardinale IV, and this is PitStop TV's live coverage of the Bluegrass iRacing series. We join you tonight from the virtual Bristol, Tennessee for round number 8 of 12 on the season. Joe, this is the first time it's just been you and I in the booth. Noah's still along with us. We'll probably talk to him a little bit throughout the race, but this is also a pretty interesting track to have a bit of a new duo at because, well, quite simply, these guys I don't think have short-tracked raced with one another yet. So a whole lot of new things happening, I suppose, both in the booth, on the racetrack, and it's going to excite. We've had a lot of great racing in weeks past, especially very recently, and I think that's going to continue, but I'm also a bit weary of some of these guys putting the championship battle first and maybe forgetting that they've got to not lean on each other too much.
Yeah, absolutely. You come to, it's Bristol. You come here, it's short track racing. And like you said, these guys don't have as much experience with the short tracks on course with each other. But the season is starting to wrap up, and some of the guys are starting to focus on that. There's plenty of drivers in the race, though, so I definitely hope to see some exciting stuff tonight. And I think we're going to. It's going to be a good time out here. These guys are all very competitive. It's a good group of people out here, and hopefully it's just good, clean, and exciting racing tonight.
And, of course, we just saw the NASCAR Cup Series tackle Bristol this past Saturday, at least if you're able to watch while watching Le Mans coverage. But it was certainly a good race. I think not as many yellows as years past, but it made for an interesting finish, especially with all the lap traffic mixing things up. I think any Kyle Busch fan is aware of that. But I wonder if we can get some of that green flag racing, get some of that lap traffic affecting things, or if it is going to be all about restarts and keeping your track position. Speaking of position, Joe, positions and the points are definitely changing up, and this is now, we don't have the moves that they've been making the last few weeks as far as plus or minus, because this is figuring in drop weeks. So this is actually going down about 60 points from what it would be for most of these drivers, but that brings Brandon Robertson up into the title fight just like we were figuring, and Travis Miller only has a 1-point lead. Can you believe that? John Kinder, 12 points back of Travis, 11 points then back of Justin Winters, and Brandon Robertson, another 11 back of Kinder. So everybody's getting very, very close, and if Robertson and Kinder keep gaining, it's only going to get closer and give us a more exciting battle come Kentucky.
Absolutely, and when you factor in 2 drop weeks, that's going to definitely change the championship. And if you don't account for the 2 drop weeks right now, Travis Miller with a 11-point lead over Justin Winters. But as you can see on screen, when you factor in the drop weeks, it's only 1 point. And Justin Winters knows that just as well as anybody else. So they're going to be watching these point standings as we go through these last few races of the season. It brings in people like Brandon Robertson and Scott Fritz, 2 drivers who have missed races so far this season. But Brandon Robertson, obviously, 2 wins on the season. He's very much a title contender. So the 2 drops definitely give these guys an opportunity to make up for time if they, say, miss a week or something else comes up. We had a hurricane come through the 1 week, so all those guys got a little break. And it's nice for these guys to have the chance to take a week off if they need to, but still be part of the championship. And that's obviously Brandon Robertson has used that to the fullest potential here, only 4th place in the championship.
Absolutely, and you mentioned the driver that I forget if it was left early from Charlotte or missed Charlotte entirely. Chris LeBourgeois, unfortunately, having to sit out by the end of Charlotte. That definitely is a big impact, usually, especially when you don't have a drop week. Thankfully, it's not as big of an impact when you have the ability to drop that race, but that could have been a really good race for somebody that now is completely dropped out. They don't get any credit for it because that is a complete DNF for that driver. So that's pretty unfortunate too. It's really tough when you have those kinds of situations come up, when you have a trip in the case of Brandon Robertson. It's very, very interesting trying to balance real life and iRacing on a serious level, but thankfully those drop weeks do help out. Now, we've been talking about these exciting tracks ahead and the exciting tracks that we've already been to. Let's take a look at the rest of the schedule this season, Joe. And we're at Bristol, race number 8 right there. But then we look forward to Talladega, the Charlotte Motor Speedway Roval, and Martinsville, all leading up to a full-length 400-miler at Kentucky. Of course, these guys, as the name suggests, are from Bluegrass country, Kentucky. And, man, that's an interesting trio of tracks to lead us into Kentucky for the finale.
Absolutely. I mean, we're going from Bristol, we're going from short track, high bank, we're going to Talladega. That is absolutely flat out the whole way. Pack racing on a super speedway. You go to the Roval. That's a completely different type of track. It's, road course racing is a completely different monster, especially in stock cars for these drivers. So maybe some new faces come to the top. Maybe some of the guys who stay up top normally in the point standings, maybe they prove that they're still good on the road courses. Then you go to Martinsville, another short track, the paperclip shaped course, and then round it out at Kentucky, as you would, except it's going to be a full length race, and that might change everything for these guys. They're used to half distance, so we'll see what becomes of the rest of the schedule. It's really dynamic and really interesting, and it's definitely going to give all of these guys a chance to have an opportunity to take a race here.
Attrition definitely setting in, both in the sense that this is a 12-race season and we're already up to race number 8 and we still have 4 to go, but also because Darlington, Bristol, Dega, the Roval, Martinsville, Kentucky, they're all tracks, especially with that 400-miler Kentucky, that are going to test these drivers' abilities to last through the entire race and make it more than just, the first lap, halfway, 3/4. They've got to go the entire distance. And if you aren't able to fully capitalize on that, well, you just might be written out of this championship battle. Before we get down to the grid, Joe, let's quickly highlight some of our partners at PitStop TV. We're just going to shotgun through these right quick. Of course, Tucson Sound Art, your picture of your music. We've talked enough about them. But we just can't push this one enough. This is a really cool product. You basically get to put a canvas wrapped around a box, and that box has a Bluetooth speaker. You get to slam that thing on your wall. It looks amazing, and it sounds great, too. And you can get 10% off when you order right now at TucsonSoundArt.com if you use code PitStopTV. That's pretty darn cool as well. We, of course, have to thank the BRP iRacing Series, a dirt series on iRacing that may soon be coming to PitStop TV. They are currently running 360 wing sprint cars and pro late models, and when the big block mods ever come to iRacing, they'll be adding those as well. Make sure to check them out on Facebook. Permanent Makeup and Cryo and Man, of course, you can call or text them at 207-358-8683 for your personal consultation on your permanent makeup needs and concerns. You can also go to their Facebook page or even their website, permanentmakeupinmaine.com, and check out all about them and hook up with, get in contact, with Ashley Bollier, the kind of lead person, if you will, over there. She runs the entire program over at Permanent Makeup and Cryo in Maine. We also want to thank Whiplash Media real quick before we go down the grid. And Joe, go ahead and take us through our top 10.
Well, it'll come up on your screen right here. So the first pole position, the Pennsylvania driver Nathan Maurer in the number 971 Chevy. To his outside will be Travis Miller, already got 2 wins this season, looking for number 3 here at Bristol. Starting in third position on your screen. Still waiting for that comment. There we go. Is going to be the 08 Nicholas Noggle driving a Toyota, and to his outside, the reigning winner from last time, number 21 of John Kinder. Number 5 on the starting grid is going to be Tyler Johnson in the number 6, and his outside is Brandon Robertson. These two both got wins so far this season. Starting on 7th spot is Tanner Webb in the number 17. He's shown some strength this season, and to his outside, a very aggressive driver who's also shown some strength, Jack Bauer. And your 5th row on the field, starting in 9th position in the number 88, is Justin Winters, one of the big names in our championship, and to his outside in the number 27 is Josh Miller.
And to quickly go through the next 10, it's Matt Grenier, Scott Fritz in 11th and 12th, Adam Lancaster 13th, Joshua Abbey in 14th. 15th, we've got Ed Osborne, the 555. Chris LeBourgeois, we talked about him a little bit. He's starting 16th. 17th, we've got Ronnie Shirk, a newcomer. Brian Terry to his outside of the number 13. And to finish out your top 20, it's Wes Wigand and Daniel Worthington. Will quickly show the rest of the grid as we get ready to go racing for 250 laps at Bristol Motor Speedway. The green flag flies. We're already at it. Very quick pace laps to get set for Bristol. The front row gets a great start off into 1. Everybody else checks up a bit.
Yeah, they're spacing out a little bit here down the back straightaway for the first time, but everybody's staying side by side. We'll see if they want to try to run a one-groove track here, or if they want to try to maybe slow up a little bit, try to conserve some tires. We know tire degradation is going to be a big factor in the race tonight, but Travis Miller pulled out ahead to start it off, and he's leading the way.
Miller now leads over Maurer. It's Noggle in second place. John Kinder a little further back. It was Maurer second, Noggle third, Kinder fourth. I'm all kinds of out of whack, and so is the field apparently. We've already got a caution flag on the racetrack. It looks as though it may have involved Nick Mills, but it's really hard to say with 24 cars getting up to speed so quickly.
Yeah, it's a lot of cars. There's somebody down there on the apron back in the background of the screen there, but yeah, it's really hard for these guys to just get through those first laps. Everybody's so bunched up together. It's tricky for them out here.
Trying to look back through. We're looking towards the back end of the field. I don't see where this one might have come out. I wonder if somebody just got just sideways enough, or I'm not really certain. It seems like the yellow just... Oh, was somebody sideways up ahead? Oh, yes, it was the number 27. So, yeah, I guess it was just somebody getting a little bit sideways. It's Josh Miller, this number 27. He was ahead of the 28 car of Adam Lancaster. What's going to happen through 3 and 4? This is where it seems to happen. Yeah, just he gets sideways. I'm surprised that was a yellow flag. That's that's bizarre.
He did a good job of saving that car, though. He held on to it nicely there.
So that was obviously a very, very quick to the start this evening, but we'll get back into our normal roll of things. Travis Miller is your race leader after starting second place on the outside pole. Nathan Maurer in second now loses that lead on that restart. Nicholas Noggle in third. John Kinder in fourth. Tyler Johnson in fifth. Brandon Robertson in sixth. Tanner Webb in seventh. Then it's Jack Bauer, Justin Winters, and Matt Grenier rounding out your top 10. What a start. What a start.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting now because the tires are not quite warmed up, but a little bit of wear into them, a little bit of heat into them. Hopefully on this restart, everybody stays clean because the tires are going to be in a little bit better shape for their restart here. But we're still watching to see who runs where, what groove is the preferred line for these drivers tonight.
Yeah, I think we're going to see a bit like the NASCAR Cup Series was, where, first these guys might run a little bit maybe down on the bottom side for the first lap, maybe lap and a half, but quickly, I think the top lane is going to prevail. You're going to see these guys. In fact, Travis Miller is going to up to take the outside line on this restart. You see him lining up top of Nathan Maurer. So, definitely the top side is the side to be, and I think it's just going to be that way all race long, especially as the leader, where you can get that jump on second place on the inside, and you can clear him so you can still run the bottom through 1 and 2, and then move back up for 3 and 4.
Yeah, it'll also be interesting to see what the rest of the group's going to do behind him, too, because like John Kinder right up behind the number 22 cars, or the pace cars pulling off. It'll be cool to see what we get out of the 2 lanes, but the green flag's back out, and we're going to see what goes down. Travis Miller got a really nice restart there.
and they race down the backstretch. Miller's already clear of the battle behind, but here comes John Kinder to the outside of Maurer, proving the top is king, and he's going to take second place for now. He's got Ghostface Brewing in Rims 1. We'll talk about them more later on, who are giving a couple of awards this evening as well. He's got them on board, that number 21. He won last week at Darlington. He gets clear of this battle for third, which now Noggle is going to take over from Maurer for third place. I'm all kinds of mixed up right now, but here comes Brandon Robertson as well, up into the top 5. He brings Tyler Johnson, it looks like he's starting to tap that outside wall in center of the corner.
Yeah, it did. It looked like he slid up through 3 and 4 there, and he might have got in the wall a little bit, but I think he's all right, and he's definitely held on to his momentum. Tyler Johnson, definitely a strong competitor in this series throughout all of his starts, and so it'll be interesting to see him try to lead his way up through and try to catch up to our leader right now, Travis Miller.
Miller does lead, but Kinder is making big inroads on that lead early on. Nicholas Noggle running a little bit higher than these guys, and he gets right up to that wall. Doesn't hit it that time. We'll see if he does here in 1 and 2. But Miller, he's running a little bit lower. That time Kinder with a very high center of the corner. Diamond's the exit off, and that's just the fast lane here at Bristol. Enter high, Diamond off the corner on the exit, and it really just gives you a really good run down the straightaway. You see Noggle do that exact thing to get on by Kinder right here. Will Kinder cross him up? No, Kinder's going to let him take second place for now. So Nicholas Noggle on the move.
Yeah, and Noggle really squared up that corner nicely to be right where John Kinder didn't need him if he was going to try to get back around him. He kind of stuck himself in the center of the corner on the exit, and John Kinder didn't really have anywhere he could go around him. We're on board here with Brandon Robertson following Maurer and to the outside of Tyler Johnson trying to get around the number 6 car, but Tyler's actually holding on pretty well on the inside line here. Well, there he goes now. But as I say it, so Brandon Robertson takes advantage of Tyler Johnson on the inside line, gets around him here, puts that tied car up in the top 5.
And you know what I like here is I like that these guys are starting a little bit earlier in the day, so there's still a little bit of natural light casting down on Bristol. Obviously, the lights are illuminating this place now. You can see the shadows on the racetrack coming from the track lights, but there's a little bit of that change. In fact, we could bring up the weather stats as Noggle gets up to Miller. The track temp is still a little bit up there. It's still a day track temperature, so we're going to see that track get a lot cooler this evening as the race goes on, and that's certainly going to change the handling of this place. Meanwhile, Travis Miller has a fight on his hands. Nicholas Noggle is all over his bumper cover. It's only lap 19 of 250, and already Noggle putting pressure on the leader. A caution flies for the back.
Yeah, but it looks like, might have had Worthington involved, might have had the number 27, Josh Miller, involved again in another incident here. But yeah, you talk about the weather's going to be changing. There you see he got up in the wall and just lost control of that number 27 car. You see some guys sliding to avoid. That was Worthington who went up into the wall. David Brackett looked like he got a little loose coming through there. So just a single car incident here with a couple guys getting caught up in it, trying to check up and avoid it.
So this is the incident with Worthington and Terry, and they just kind of come together as Miller's already wrecking. So a couple of incidents there for them, but nothing big. Brian Terry's Terry Family Racing is sponsoring this evening's race at Bristol, so we thank them for their support, whether it's RC racing or dirt racing. You can check them out. Actually, let me pull that back up. I've completely forgotten the plug. See, we are all kinds of out of whack here this evening, but I will pull that back up, and I'll make sure that I think it's on Facebook, Terry Family Racing, but I will confirm that here shortly. But we do thank everybody who supports this series. There isn't a title sponsor. You can totally hit these guys up, Bluegrass iRacing Series on Facebook, if you wish to really sponsor these guys and partner with them and us here at PitStop TV and really just take the reins. The naming rights, of course, I'm sure are available. And I don't want to speak too much for Jason Collins and the crew, but I would imagine that they would welcome somebody to help cover things. I do want to double check back on the Brian Terry situation, and I'm getting there. I'm getting back through my conversation with Jason Collins this afternoon. And here we go. Yes, so whether it's RC cars or dirt late models, definitely check them out at the Dirt Track World Championship at Portsmouth Raceway Park. That's what it was. October 17th through the 19th. So again, that is Portsmouth Raceway Park. I actually don't know where that is, but we'll figure something out by the end of this one. We'll educate everybody else on that. Meanwhile, Travis Miller, your race leader, Nicholas Nagel, second place, and John Kinder, who won at Darlington a week ago, is going to be stuck on that bottom side with Nicholas Nagel. I wonder if that means that Nathan Mauer's in the catbird seat for this restart.
Well, yeah, we've seen it. The top side's the way to go. Nathan Maurer up top now, but he's been kind of running a little bit lower through the corners. And I mean, Nick Nagel's so strong too right now. That car's really hooked up for the way the track's running right now. But obviously, as the night goes on, the track's going to cool off and the rubber's going to lay down. It's going to completely change the way these cars run on the track. So we might be seeing some new guys coming up once the sun goes down. But we're getting ready here through 3 and 4 to get the restart underway. The pace car should pull down within a couple feet, and we should be able to start these guys back up.
Ooh, a little bit of contact on the restart. Wow.
Contact coming to the line. Travis Miller and Nick Nagel were the leaders coming in. They kept everybody together pretty nicely. It looks like everything went okay. They didn't wave off the yellow, but they were making contact before they were racing again.
But I think that helped Nicholas Nagel. That actually got him that second place on the top side again. Meanwhile, Maurer does get ahead of John Kinder as Kinder slides on the bottom side. Tyler Johnson's going to get up ahead of John Kinder, it looks like. He's trying to bring the 17 of Tanner Webb with as well. Brandon Robertson slots in up on the top side. John Kinder, the lone driver on the bottom right now, trying to make it work, but you see it's just not working out for him. I wonder if that's going to change as the race goes on. You see Josh Miller re-enter the racing surface with his fast repair taken. But, Sean kind of got up real close to Robertson right there. That's the other thing. We've seen Kyle Busch and Brad Keselowski have a few incidents like that themselves on corner exit where you're really trying to get up to that top side or at least just get as high as you can and get yourself a better arc into the corner. And that is where we see a lot of contact made here at Bristol.
Yeah, they just kind of slide up, and it's the result of having such small tires on such large, heavy cars. It's just kind of how it goes. You got to really be careful if you don't want to slide up, but a lot of guys also kind of like to use that to their advantage. They like to get a little bit of bumping and banging going on. So these guys are really respectful of each other. They definitely don't want to be doing each other any harm. But Bristol's Bristol, and as you see, Jack Bauer got up into the wall a little bit right there. It's Bristol, baby.
Now here's a fight. You see Wyatt Brackett in the number 33, a new paint for him, working on Ed Osborne. This is just behind Joshua Abbey in the primetime number 05, and they have Wes Wigenden behind. So a slew of new paints back here, I think, for this entire four-car group. Well, now David Brackett enters his name, so that changes things up a little bit. But these three cars, I think, all sporting new paint schemes, at least ones that I've not seen. And yeah, Joshua Abbey's going to win out of this one for now, but Wyatt Brackett's actually doing a good job on the bottom side, staying ahead of Ed Osborne and actually working on Joshua Abbey for that position. That would be for 13th if he can get it.
Yeah, and you can actually see David Brackett back there as well, running a little bit lower line. Ed Osborne's kind of in the middle right now. These guys, they might be set up a little bit to try to run the bottom side because they know everybody's trying to run up top. There goes there goes Brackett up in front, and he's going to take that position. Ed Osborne's actually going to try to follow him through here. So interesting that the bottom line is the way to go around this one. I wonder, there's getting into the wall there a little bit, but Abbey's dropping back now, and Wiggins going to try to follow suit here.
Big checkups with Osborne and Abbey, and they're falling back. We were staying on the back end of Wyatt Brackett watching these guys race behind, but they just kept falling further and further back. And you see side by side now go Wiggin and Abbey, Worthington in there as well. Those three all teammates from the dirt side. Meanwhile, Travis Miller has gapped Nicholas Nagel just a bit. Looks like Nagel's been on the fence, and Maurer trying to pass on the bottom side. Will it work out for the Simbox 971? Oh, it just might. Does he get a good drive out of the corner? Not quite, but Tyler Johnson going to follow him. Oh, but he moved up in front of Nagel, and Nagel lifted.
Yeah, Maurer came up a little bit quickly there.
Whoa, and he's going to take out Tanner Webb.
Nice save by Nagel.
Oh, my gosh. Tanner Webb, a great save as well.
Wow, good stuff from these guys, keeping their cars clean. We stay green flag racing. Not what they needed, not what they wanted, but definitely safer to have saved that car and not gotten into the wall, not needed to use our fast repair here. So they're going to have to try to hang on with the tires they've now got and wait for pit stops, wait for a yellow so they can get that one squared away. But that was pretty impressive that neither of them crashed.
It really was, and now Tanner Webb defends from Scott Fritz. He wanted to get on by. Scott Fritz hard in the fence, actually, center of the corner. That's a common thing with these guys now. Whether it's intentional or not, they just happen to get up into that fence, and it can definitely dent up the right side of your car, especially the right front. It can actually help you turn a little bit, so you got to be careful not to use it too much, because leagues do watch out for that kind of stuff. But it's gotten more and more common as the groove has moved up at Bristol, even on iRacing. So you got to be real careful not to get into that wall too hard. It could damage your car, or it could give you an advantage, and neither one is necessarily good. John Kinder defending from Nicholas Noggle. It's going to work out for now. So Noggle falls out of the top 5 and suddenly falls into the hands of Justin Winters.
Yeah, well, Noggle's still just holding on after that little squirrely situation there, and the rear end of that car is bent up. You can definitely see it on your screen. So he's just going to try to run this one out and try to wait until he can get into the pits, get some fresh tires, maybe get a little bit of that damage fixed. Aerodynamics not really a big deal here at Bristol. Obviously, we're not going that fast enough for that kind of stuff, but it could be affecting the way his car is handling, and that's obviously going to slow him down.
Absolutely. Any little thing could just upset a race car, and so you want to be careful of that kind of stuff. But for right now, Nicholas Noggle still looks all right, just heading in the wrong direction. Now, I don't know if he was tight or loose. I was trying to figure out which one it was out of the corner, but he backs up to Justin Winters, and now Winters going to dive to the bottom. Problems for Nicholas Noggle. He's definitely sliding back now. He's got problems in that number 08. I wonder if maybe that was him letting them go. Oh, as Grenier gets tied out of the corner. These guys tight. I would have expected them to be sideways.
Yeah, they're really using up the front end tires, and that might be why they're starting to tighten up a little bit here, that they're starting to go through their fronts, but not the backs as much. And as Noggle looked like he might have got up in the wall a little bit there. It looks like everybody got back under. Whoa! There went Tanner Webb.
Barely hangs on to the number 17, gets back under control, and he'll rejoin the racing surface at about 14th or so. Let's check back in on our leaders, because Travis Miller has just about been caught by Nathan Maurer, our pole sitter this evening. He wants to fight, and he wants to maybe get his first win on the season. He's been good recently. I think back to Richmond, where he was really the best, I think. And he just hasn't been able to capitalize on his good races so far. I wonder if maybe he can get it done this evening at Bristol Motor Speedway. We've got to wait 200 more laps to find out, but already through 20% of this one.
Yeah, Nathan Maurer is one of those drivers that has yet to win this season, but he definitely could. He's been up front for a lot of the races he's run. He's only run 4 races of the 7 so far, but Nathan Maurer has proven that he is a big, heavy hitter in this series. He has run with Travis Miller before. They have fought out battles with each other at Charlotte, especially. That was a Maurer versus Miller show the whole way through, as they're starting to deal with this lap traffic that we don't really get to see that much in Bluegrass, or at least we haven't yet this season, with running with so many cars on such a short track that we would be catching up. As Maurer got a little loose coming out of the corner there. And actually, Tyler Johnson took advantage of that, and he gets around the outside, so moved number 6 car.
Oh, Joshua Abbey almost takes out Travis Miller, getting sideways there, and that's going to hold up Tyler Johnson, I don't know why I threw a T in there. Tyler Johnson was working the top, now goes to the bottom. A caution flag flies somewhere. Wow, drama with these lap cars for sure, and I think it's going to be Josh McKinney that's turned around. Yep, his paint shows a 20, but he scored as the 43. We'll see what happens to him. Again, it looks like maybe some slower lap traffic. And, Scott Fritz tried to move up and just wasn't clear. Oh, we have a big stack up. Wow.
That took a lot of cars out of contention right there with each other. Scott Fritz just came up the track, and obviously there wasn't room for him on the top side of the car. It's showing number 20 on your screen. Yeah, just absolutely was coming up the track, and there was already a car there. Checking up behind him, the other guys trying to avoid the incident. David Brackett not fortunate enough to get around that one. You saw some other guys.
Lancaster gets a piece as well. Look at Worthington slide through that and just barely miss the back end of the 43.
The Worthington came sliding through there, but that actually is going to help Tyler Johnson, because he lost a lot of time and momentum there when they were getting caught up in the lap traffic running there at the front end of the field. So Tyler Johnson going to be kind of okay with the way that this has turned out.
We do have pit stops underway for the first time this evening. You see these guys coming down the pit lane, that blue stripe designating the path of pit road, because for the longest time here on iRacing, it was just the 2 separate pit lanes at Bristol. Now we have the option to connect the 2 through 3 and 4, just like you see in real life under cautions in NASCAR races. Unfortunately, you can't have both during a race, but you can at least have the connected pit road, so it is a bit more realistic in that sense. Everybody coming in for tires, and I would imagine a full tank of fuel. I don't know why you would short fill right now. As Noggle, oh, he's lucky. He's on the edge of that pit box, but he just barely makes it.
Yeah, I saw that. He was sliding through. I was wondering about Maurer. Maurer was almost about to slide through his pit box, too. You saw Travis Miller win the race off pit road and come out in the same order as they came in. As some other guys starting to come down pit lane here.
Yes, what was interesting is actually David Brackett ran through the pit lane, so you saw him exit ahead of Travis Miller, but I think he missed his box at first. Now he gets in safely and securely to his pit box, so Travis Miller will reassume the race lead. Tyler Johnson second place, then it's Nathan Maurer exiting the pit lane in third. Brandon Robertson up to fourth, and John Kinder hanging on to a top 5. That's been 56 laps of action at Bristol, and wow, that went by quick.
Yeah, they were running pretty well together. Obviously, there was some beating and banging, a little bit of loosey-goosey, but the guys were doing a pretty good job as a whole getting through this one, and they proved that they can kind of long run with each other. So hopefully that'll hold on for the rest of the night, but obviously, it's Bristol, so we're probably going to get another yellow before the night is done, and it'll bring everybody back together. But they did a pretty solid job. We had a little bit of interesting stack-ups, and getting in through lap traffic was interesting with the leaders. Obviously, I think Tyler Johnson would be the first to tell you it was a less than ideal experience there, but he got kind of lucky that the yellow came out at the time it did, so he got right back up, and he's going to be right beside the guy who's trying to pass when the green flag drops again.
So we will re-rack them and re-stack them at Bristol Motor Speedway. Travis Miller, the leader. Tyler Johnson to his inside, and that's really going to shake things up because Brandon Robertson's the next car on the outside line, restarting fourth place, and that's the line you want to be in here at Bristol. It's just faster. Nathan Maurer also stuck on the bottom side. Justin Winter is with them. Coming to lap 58 of 57. We go back green flag racing. I said 58 of 57. That's totally incorrect. 58 of 250. We go back green flag racing.
Yeah, and they singled out up front pretty nicely here. Travis Miller, Tyler Johnson, Brandon Robertson, they all got through it pretty well. Justin Winters made a pass there on Nathan Maurer, and he's going to try to move himself at least, and he does so now. He completes that pass to get into fourth position. So one of the big names in the championship, only 1 point behind Travis Miller, who's got a fight right now for the lead. Brandon Robertson catching up behind him, but Tyler Johnson on his inside. Oh, Johnson sliding like a goose out of there. Out of turn number 4, Johnson loses a couple of positions, but he held on to the number 6 car, managed to save it from putting it in the wall, causing another yellow here, but that was a lot of lost momentum off the number 6 car right there.
Sliding like a goose, is that correct?
Hey, man, it's Bristol. What goes, goes.
All right, it works, I suppose. And he falls back into fourth place then. Miller leading. He had that fight at first. Johnson looked real good out of the gates, but the cold tires, I think, holding him back. Just a bit slick and slidey out there. Robertson holds on to second. And actually, that was a really easy restart for him to just slide into second place. And Justin Winters up into third. And he's trying to get a pretty good drive off the corner as well, try to get into the inside of the number 2 of Brandon Robertson. I'm just not so sure if you really want to go down there this early. A caution does fly. David Brackett's turned around in turn 4.
Brackett looks like he might have been all on his own there. Just got loose slid out around here. We're going to replay. Ed Osborne in front of him. Joshua Abbey behind him. So they go into the corner. He's on the inside.
Oh, Brian Terry.
Oh, actually, Brian Terry was involved in that one too. Interesting stuff. So Brian Terry was the one who lost it initially, and then David Brackett had nowhere to go. We'll see if there was maybe some help for the number 13 here.
And absolutely, Adam Lancaster sporting Ghostface on that number 28. Oh, man. Big contact for both of them, actually. When Brackett had nowhere to go, gets into Terry right there. But, yeah, the Ghostface Brewing Company actually sponsoring an award this evening. And I want to get back over to this to read this off correctly. So, the Hard Charger for, quote, the guy who needs a beer. Brought to you by Ghostface Brewery in Mooresville, North Carolina. I've been to their restaurant multiple times. Amazing stuff. And I'm so excited at some point to go try the beer lab. That is also a pretty big thing. I've heard amazing things about that as well. And then the halfway leader will also, so actually the hard charger gets $10 for whoever goes from the back and gains the most positions in this one. But also the halfway leader gets $10, brought to you by Rims 1, who you can see on the hood of John Kinder's machine in the number, or in the position 6. Or in position 6, something like that. But also, Joe, I want to mention, we have a commenter somewhere in the YouTube chat saying, is that Joe? And I can only imagine that he's only asking about you because I don't see a Joe in the race. Tell these guys about where they can find you, Joe Donahue, on YouTube.
Well, yeah, I am Joe Donahue. I make stop motions in my free time. I have for the past about 8 years of my life. I've made stop motions. I just do it for the fun of it and for, something to relieve the stress of my regular life outside of the internet. My YouTube channel is just Joe Donahue. My name, Joe, space Donohue. And then obviously I'm on other forms of social media like Instagram. And actually that's all I have. But yeah, I just do stop motions. And I try to build a base of people who have similar interests to me. I think we all have lived through parts of our lives where being a racing fan is a little tough. People give you a little bit of a tough time for it, but we all can appreciate that we all come together for a good time, and that's what's really important out here is to just meet new people, meet people who have similar interests to you. So that's what I try to facilitate out here.
Absolutely. Fair enough. Everybody go check him out on YouTube, Joe Donahue. We appreciate all the good work that you put in with us here at PitStop TV. You've been a great asset, as well as Noah Carmichael, who's just chilling back there on his phone, doing something, talking about some part of the race on our social media channels on Facebook and Twitter. And you can follow along with all of our broadcasts on Facebook and Twitter. We have our social media updates. You can follow along with who's doing what, who's hot, who's not, and just see some pretty pictures that it's usually Emerson Arden or Trey Shuttlesworth, or still sometimes Noah Carmichael taking the reins on that one and bringing you those social updates. But we are coming to a lap 68 onto lap 69 restart, and well, it's been a pretty nice race for Travis Miller so far, but Brandon Robertson and Tyler Johnson going to look to change that. They go back green flag racing across the start finish, and it's now lap 69.
Nice, and Travis Miller went right up ahead and took advantage of that start. Brandon Robertson fell back a little bit. Justin Winters now gets a nice run on the inside. You saw Robertson slid up out of turn number 2, and it actually got him out, and John Kinder as well. So he took advantage of some momentum lost by those two cars, except now he's on the bottom and he's stuck down there. Justin Winters falling back again into the grasp of John Kinder now, and Nathan Maurer is on his way up as well.
We're watching this fight with Winters and Maurer, as Grenier is entering the fray as well. Here comes Tanner Webb on the outside. They almost make contact into 3, but Grenier slots in ahead of him, and the caution flag flies once more. This time, it looks like it may have been Ed Osborne getting turned around, considering he was on the racetrack 20 seconds prior, and then not when we checked into it. And, he and Brian Terry almost make contact, and then Osborne goes for a big, big slide and a big, big hit to that inside wall. Big troubles for the 555.
Yeah, he just got loose there, and it didn't look like Terry and him made any contact there, but they were both getting loose out of the corner. And, yeah, so absolutely just lost control of that car. And lucky that he didn't bring anybody else into this one. It was a single-car incident here, the other guys coming around him. But, just, yellow. And Travis Miller still leading the way. Brandon Robertson, Tyler Johnson holding on to the top 3 right now. So they're going to try to capitalize on this restart this time, and maybe we'll see it shake up a little bit here.
So I mentioned that Noah Carmichael's doing something, sitting on his phone or who knows what. Noah, how are you doing over there?
I'm surviving, that's for sure. It's trying to keep up. Usually, doing social media is one thing, but on a track like this where so many things happen at once, it's kind of a rush to keep up. I figured a little bit things out to get it done, and I feel like I'm getting some pretty good stuff out there tonight.
For sure. I've seen some good stuff from the the social channels so far. So, of course, you guys always do a good job. Now, you are usually with us here in the booth for the Bluegrass iRacing series. So who do you think? I know it's only 70-something laps into this one, coming up to 75 shortly. Who do you think has looked the best so far?
The guy who's led about every lap so far, Travis Miller. I mean, he just jumped out to the race lead and he's taken off. For the most part of the race, the top 4 contenders, out of all those guys, he's been the one that's been running away with it. After this last restart, we finally saw the likes of Kinder, Robertson, and Winters finally rejoin them, and they're starting to pick a fight with them. So we're starting to see more of these championship contenders come in. Kinder's still trying to find his place, but right now it's just been the Travis Miller show. As Robertson and Winters are still just trying to keep up with him and make a move. So far, it's just been Travis Miller's night as of right now.
I think that's a pretty fair assessment, wouldn't you? Wouldn't you say so, Joe? I mean, Travis Miller's led every single lap thus far. Sure, there's been challengers coming and going, but definitely the 22 is the car to beat.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Travis Miller's been leading the way the whole time, and obviously these restarts, being on the outside of the front row, has been helping him, but part of the fight, being able to capitalize on restarts, that's part of the fight of racing here at Bristol. Being able to catch up and get passes done, and nobody's quite been able to pull that off with Travis Miller. Now, the track's going to change. It's a very dynamic race going from day to night here at Bristol, so it could change, but Travis Miller's car right now is really hooked up. Really, really nice. Brandon Robertson, Tyler Johnson, nothing against them. Their cars are definitely ready to go here too, but they're going to have to start figuring out what they need to do to get the little intricacies of Travis Miller to come out, that they can get around that number 22 car and get up front.
We'll ride the blimp through this restart as these gladiators get back at it. Now 75 complete. Travis Miller has led them all, and we're coming to lap 77 for this restart of 250. Miller leads. It's Robertson second place, his inside. Then inside of row number 2, it is Tyler Johnson. Then John Kinder on the outside. And we'll see these guys restart again from this blimp. We go back green flag racing on lap 77.
Miller got a heck of a jump on the rest of them. They were sleeping there, but Brandon Robertson caught up a lot through 1 and 2 right there. You saw the gap between the leader and second place just diminish like nothing. Tyler Johnson on the inside of John Kinder right now. They're fighting for third spot as they complete the lap of the restart here, and we're on lap 78 with Travis Miller, Brandon Robertson single file right now. Tyler Johnson and John Kinder still side by side, but it's pretty interesting to see that they're still keeping up with those two even as they're running side by side. It changes your line, it changes the aerodynamic flow over your car to run side by side like that, but they're keeping up, and that's pretty cool stuff right here.
Whoa, Tyler Johnson all kinds of out of shape. He almost tags Justin Winters on entry to 3. Robertson starting to put a challenge here on Travis Miller, and things are tightening up for the lead, but here comes John Kinder to throw his hat in the mix as well. Winters gets clear to 4th, Webb in 5th, Johnson slides into 6th in the number 6. Maurer all the way back to 7th place right now with Jack Bauer and Nicholas Noggle.
Yeah, they're starting to run single file here. Tyler Johnson, Tanner Webb holding on to it right now. I'm actually with Tanner Webb, pretty surprised to see him up in 5th place. We've been seeing him get a little squirrely throughout the course of the night. It's been a fight for him to try to keep control of that car. We've seen him all over the place, but Tanner Webb's definitely hooked up. He's going quickly, and he's all over the back end of Justin Winters right now. So he's definitely proven he's got a good car underneath him, and he knows how to get around this course, but there's plenty of race left, so we'll have to see what happens with that.
Winters tags the fence in the center of 1 and 2, gets a great launch down the backstretch, and right up to the back end of John Kinder as they now battle through 3 and 4. Here comes Tyler Johnson to try and put a move on Tanner Webb. Can't do it there. He'll try and reset through 1 and 2 this time by. Kinder suddenly on the defensive as Winters starts to begin his assault on this number 21. The lead has kind of split itself up. Robertson's fallen back a little bit. That 22 just looks so good. It's kind of like last week at Darlington, where it was just so hard to beat the 21 on speed alone. I think it's with the same thing here this week, but now with the 22 car.
Yeah, but it seems interesting because I think it seems like over the course of the run, Travis Miller does fall off a little bit more than the rest of them, so they are able to, on the long runs, at least as we've seen so far, they are able to keep up with him a little better. Nathan Maurer proved that earlier in the race. Obviously, he was fighting with him up there. So was Tyler Johnson. Now Brandon Robertson's got an opportunity to do the same. He's staying right on the tail end of the number 22 car's bumper, trying to stay in the draft there with him, trying to run a better line, a smoother line through the corners. But Travis Miller really hooked up, and he's just a really good driver overall. Travis Miller, a very skilled, very, very intricate, very talented driver in iRacing here. So if you're gonna win, you're gonna have to beat the best here at Bristol. And Travis Miller is right now proving why he's up front.
Like I said at the start of the show here, Joe, the cream just happens to rise to the top at Bristol more often than not, and it really does take a great driver to get around here and get around here well, but a mix-up back here as Winners is going to fall out of that 4th place spot. Webb takes it over, Johnson through to 5th, that brings Maurer into 6th, and Winners falls all the way back into P8. Not sure what happened, but we just got to keep going with it. Green flag racing, everything happens here real quickly, and he quickly drops from 4th to 8th.
Yeah, we saw it on screen just off the back end of the camera that they were 3 wide coming out of that corner. I don't know if he maybe got a little loose or lost his momentum, maybe got a little tight in the car. The car got a little tight for him, but all those guys got around him now. He's dropped back to 8th, and he's going to have to try to muster something up to try to catch up with these guys. Right now, Tyler Johnson putting pressure on Tanner Webb. That is for 4th position. Nathan Maurer in behind them, and he's going to try to see if these two can mix it up a little bit, let him catch up, which he just did in the middle of the corner. But Tyler Johnson got a great run off turn 4, and down the inside he's going to try to go on Tanner Webb, but Webb's going to have the momentum on the outside. That's going to carry him back up in front and into 4th position. Johnson really ran up high out of that corner. Very interesting to see him running so high in the corner. He's almost up on that wall, but not quite. Tanner Webb now did the exact same thing through the corner.
And look at this, Joe. These guys starting to get into lap traffic. That's going to start playing spoiler to some of these battles. We saw it just before one of those cautions not so long ago, that this lap traffic was really starting to impact the leaders. And now Travis Miller all over the back end of Josh Miller and more. Who is that ahead of him? That is, we'll find out in a moment, I guess. Trying to find his name, Josh McKinney, that's right. And he's going to stop on the bottom side, and Miller's going to have to thread the needle. Here comes Robertson trying to get the best of it. Miller slides back up to the top a little bit behind the other Miller. It is now going to finally clear Josh Miller, bringing Robertson and Kinder with him.
Yeah, and it's definitely, it seems to be that the lap traffic is having a pretty interesting effect here on these guys getting in and amongst with them in the way here. So the rest of them are going to try to get around the Josh Miller car, number 27 here. They're side by side. Tyler Johnson. Oh, Tanner Webb. I think he got into the back of the number 27.
Oh, they're going to wreck Johnson around.
Oh, and around they go.
This is why lap traffic is such a pain here at Bristol, because Tanner Webb just got stuck. He tried to make the better of Tyler Johnson slipping up on the bottom side, but there was not room.
Yeah, I don't know. It's tough to say who's to blame for that kind of a situation. You know, Tanner Webb is on the money. He wants to go, and he's stuck behind the lap traffic. But you gotta stay patient. You can't win the race like this, but you can lose it. You can lose it by getting too aggressive, and maybe Tanner Webb got a little aggressive here. Maybe he expected Josh Miller to get through that corner a little quicker, though, too. Either way, coming out of turn 2. Caught up too quickly to the tail end of Josh Miller there. Tyler Johnson on the inside was just unfortunately there when Tanner Webb lost control of his number 17 car, and so resulted this caution.
Well, thankfully, nobody else made contact with these guys as they were spinning, at least not that I saw. But yeah, it's like Josh Miller just dropped the anchor out of 2, and that's what really held Tanner Webb up. We'll see it here from Maurer's on board, and yeah, Miller got high and then checked up hard, and that's what sparks this one. Oh, actually, Josh Miller hard in the fence after all of that. He got tagged by the 6 of Johnson as he was spinning. I wonder if he collected anybody else, as they all had to go low to miss him. It doesn't look like it, actually. It looks like he kept going. So that's good that nobody else was involved well after the fact. We do have pit stops now taking place on lap 100, almost on cue as these guys pitted back around lap 50 the first time.
Yeah, and Maurer was actually pretty lucky to come away with what he did, because he did get into the back of Tanner Webb a little bit. That could have brought him into the situation. And then again, with Josh Miller hitting the wall there, you saw Maurer had to absolutely gun it to try to get around that number 27 before anything bad happened. Racing off pit road now is Travis Miller. He's led the whole way through it so far. For the most part, the number 22 BRP Ford comes out of the pits first, ahead of Brandon Robertson and the rest of them.
And it looks like at first Le Bourgeois stayed out, but he will relinquish the lead back to Travis Miller. I wonder if maybe he just, I don't know exactly how he would have gotten the lead there for a moment, but regardless, Travis Miller will be the race leader after this round of pit stops. And McKinney, there you see him. He's going to get the wave around here shortly. Just a bad night for some of these guys that are stuck in the back and just can't go anywhere right now. And it's so tough at a place like Bristol. We'll see it again at a place like Martinsville for the penultimate round of the Bluegrass iRacing Series first season here on iRacing. It's just so tough to go from the back to the front. It's really, unless you can do it in the first 20 laps or so, I don't think you're going to be able to do it. It's just, sometimes the cautions will fall right and you can gain some spots and make some inroads on the deficit at least, but it's really tough once you get behind to get out from that hole.
Well, it's like you said, Andrew, the cream rises to the top here at Bristol, and if your car is not hooked up, if you're not on your game, and your car's not doing what you need it to, you're going to drop back. There's plenty of guys out here, plenty of good drivers, plenty of good cars. They've got their car set up, and they know what they need to do to get around this track quickly. If your car's not handling the way you want, you're going to fall back.
Speaking of dropping back, I want to mention Justin Winters to the back of the field here. I'm not sure if that was a penalty possibly, but he has fallen back to 15th for this restart. So big issues for the second place in points driver Justin Winters. Meanwhile, they're going to come to the restart zone, and Travis Miller, the race leader. It's Robertson in second, and he is caught sleeping. Here comes Nicholas Noggle back into the top three, and he's going to look to try and take second away from Robertson.
Yeah, Noggle had some trouble earlier on in this race, got involved in an incident, but he's back up to third place, and he's running.
Whoa,
right
issues for Miller in the wall hard.
Oh, Travis Miller got loose in the corner, and he just
He's
went up in
still
the wall.
wrecking.
He's still riding the wall. Wow. And the whole race just changes. Everything just went 180 degrees. Travis Miller led this race, dominating this race. We talked about it. Oh, there goes Grenier sliding down the inside. The Cornflakes car to the apron. Wow, they're getting antsy here, but your leader is now Nick Noggle, and the rest of them trying to sort it out here as well. It got a little hectic here, Andrew.
100 laps in, these guys are really starting to get at it. We've still got 150 to go, boys. Got to hang on for now. Nicholas Noggle does get the race lead, but he's got Brandon Robertson to worry about, who smashed right into the back end of Travis Miller when he had that big mistake in 3 and 4 a few laps ago, where Miller just got sideways, ended up overcorrecting and getting into the fence and all but stopping on Brandon Robertson's nose, crunching the front end of the number 2, much like at Darlington last week. He's got a lot of front end damage to fight back from, but he's done it before. He fought back into third place last week at Darlington, and now he's still in second place here at Bristol, and I think that car is still going to be competitive. John Kinder in third. He's got Maurer in behind, and Miller falls back into fifth, now battling with Tanner Webb. The battles further back are where the action's really at right now. Right around 10th spot is where we are, and you can see the brackets in 10th and 11th, just behind Jack Bauer in 9th.
Yeah, the brackets here, both of them running in 10th and 11th spot behind Jack Bauer. This group's kind of stayed together a little bit. Scott Fritz there, part of the picture. The Yingling Chevrolet of David Brackett leading Wyatt Brackett down the stretch with, it looks like Justin Winters has caught up to the tail of these guys, and he's going to try to get down the inside of Scott Fritz right now. So Justin Winters definitely has a good car underneath him, and we knew that from the start, and it's showing here. He's been able to get up. He's trying to fight his way back into the top 10. So already off of that restart where he had to go to the tail end with an EOL penalty, he got a little loose there off the corner, but he's coming on. He's coming on strong in the number 88 Chevrolet.
So Winters trying to fight back. He's up into 13th for now. We look back up to the race lead, and Noggle is checked out by about a half a second, currently over Brandon Robertson, but the top three still very much near one another. Maurer in there as well. Then it's a bit of a larger break back to Travis Miller, who's still got Tanner Webb to worry about. These two nose to tail through every single corner, and it has not changed.
Yeah, and I'm pretty surprised. I'm really happy for Travis Miller that he's still got good enough car underneath him. You see, obviously, Tanner Webb now takes full advantage of the outside line, gets around Travis Miller there for the position, and put Travis.
Oh, Tyler Johnson and Scott Fritz.
No.
We were just looking at these guys. Oh, and Joshua Abbey.
Wow, late into the caution there. Joshua Abbey just comes storming in to stop the cars on the track. We got another caution here. They're taking out some heavy hitters right here. We'll see what happens.
Jack Bauer was riding in behind Tyler Johnson. I wonder if this is where this is going to start. And, yep, Tyler Johnson sideways at a 4, collects Jack Bauer. Are the brackets involved? Yes, Wyatt of those two is involved. Winners goes for a spin. Grenier as well, as Fritz had nowhere to go. Oh, and that's where Abby came into this one. Much more contact in behind.
Just an unfortunate situation for Joshua Abbey. He's coming into the corner, and the yellows are coming out, and he's not quite sure what's going on. There were stopped cars on the track. He tried to not have that happen. He did try to get it through that, but yeah, Tyler Johnson kind of just set this one up on his own, a little bit of loose out of the turn, and I mean you can't do much about that. It's just an unfortunate circumstance of getting a loose car underneath you. Scott Fritz almost went upside down there in the number 100 car, and then yeah, Abby comes in late, but the two brackets got through there with minimal, but definitely involved damage. We're riding on board with Justin Winters. Maybe we'll get a nice view of what's going on up here.
Yeah, it's certainly unfortunate for guys like Scott Fritz, Joshua Abbey, who are doing nothing back here, just trying to miss things, end up getting in it hard. But yeah, Winters, we'll see what happens to him. Is it just a slide? Thankfully, yes. He gets down in those marbles and locks up the brakes and does not hit that wall. That's what I was afraid of. That's why we wanted to check out that replay of him and Grenier going sliding through 1 and 2. And then, yeah, Joshua Abbey, I think, just got on the brakes pretty hard, and with a lot of rear brake, that car stepped out and went for a slide down on the apron. And it's so hard, especially when you're already sliding and when you get down on that apron where you might not have all 4 wheels on the racetrack the whole time because you're riding the difference between those two bankings to actually stop the car, and he slides right into Tyler Johnson. And let's just be honest, that incident all on the number 6.
Yeah, absolutely. He just got loose on his own. And like you said, where the banking changes, it just absolutely upsets the balance of the car. It's very hard to keep control of it, and unfortunate circumstance for them. But there's a lot of really competitive cars, maybe not first place competitive, but definitely competing for the top 5, top 10 range spots. They were making a good show for us here on PitStop TV, but unfortunate circumstance. They'll get their repairs. They'll get back out on track and hopefully come back up through the field and try to compete for the same spots they were just before this yellow came out.
Yeah, those guys were definitely making things exciting. I want to quickly remind everybody that may just be tuning in on where the point standings fall coming into this evening. This is now figuring in our 2 drop weeks. After 7 races at 12, we finally have that data. Travis Miller enters this evening with just a 1-point gap back to Justin Winters, who we saw involved in that one with just a slide. Thankfully misses all other contact. John Kindery, who currently rides in 5th, ahead of Travis Miller, wherever Travis Miller now is. He's actually fallen back. I think he pitted there to get some damage repaired. So he is going to exit, it looks like, in 16th. Wow. That's a big difference there. So the point standing is going to change up, but that's how they come in. Brandon Robertson also mixing things up, getting up in there, and he wants to try and fight for a championship. Meanwhile, Nicholas Noggle going to be our restart leader as we come to lap 121, nearing halfway here, Joe, and we are almost 50% of the way through this thing. 125 up, 125 down here shortly. Lap 121, Noggle leads into 1.
Yeah, we're starting to get towards halfway, so we'll start to see what the drivers do about that. Brandon Robertson got a great run through the inside of turn 2 right there. He got up in front of Nick Noggle, takes the lead, the Tide Toyota in front of the Brycon Mobile 1 number 08 Toyota. So the two of them leading the way. Nathan Maurer now up into 3rd position with John Kinder right behind him. Tanner Webb in 5th, trying to hold on with Adam Lancaster, putting pressure on him right now. Top 5's running pretty solid right here. Oh, Maurer got a little loose out of turn number 4 and went down the track. It causes him to check up. There's a big crash.
No. I saw Miller involved. I see Webb involved. This is Bristol.
I thought I saw Nick Mills involved. That was unfortunate. There was a good race going on with Tanner Webb, but we talked about Webb was a little loose throughout the beginning stages of this race, so I don't know if he was loose again.
Yup, you called it.
Yeah, he got just a little loose.
Bauer gets in it. Winters gets by, but everybody else trying to slide and get through it. Oh, yeah, Miller does get a piece at the end. He gets a piece of the 15 of Grenier. Thankfully, this time, Abbey gets stopped in behind his teammate Worthington, and they will miss this one, but just big incident here just about at halfway.
Yeah, Webb looked like he was struggling a little earlier in this race with some stability issues with that number 17 car. it came together for him, and he's been running really strong. You're getting a nice, cool slow-mo. Obviously not cool for Tanner or Jack Bauer. Dave Wyatt Brackett, Matt Grenier there. Nick Mills sliding in with the number 83 car, the 22. There's Travis Miller. There's Brian Terry. A lot of cars involved in this one.
Wes Wigand also gets a piece of things, and this is truly Bristol, baby, because this is a big one. Off in our turn number 1, we'll watch it at full speed from the blimp and see everything that happens. So this is the lap prior. You see Noggle and Robertson fighting up ahead for the lead, and you see everybody just getting a little bit loose on corner exit. And finally, Webb is going to really get sideways this time out of 4 and almost gets into the 28 of Lancaster, then overcorrects. Bauer piles in. Winters gets on by, but sliding. And, I mean, they all just come flying in there. Ronnie Shirk as well.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate the way that that's how it goes. Bristol's short track, everybody's all packed up together, and there's not really a lot of time to react to something like that. You just kind of have to do your best and hope for a little bit of luck on your side there. So it's going to shake things up again right after the other yellow brought us to where we are here. It's going to shake up the mid-pack a little bit. Some of those guys, you know, Travis Miller, we talked about him. He was up front, and he fell back a little bit. He got in the wall. Now this has happened again. Travis Miller going to have to go to the back and have to get fixed up. These guys definitely are starting to get into the crunch part of the race. It's going to be long for a little while. It's going to be tedious for a little while here in the middle stages before we start getting into the action of the end of this one. They just got to keep their noses clean. Obviously, it's hard to do, but it's the best way to get around the track is to get around it clean.
So we have now eclipsed halfway, and let's quickly look through our results. If the race were to end right now, obviously still half a race to go, but Brandon Robertson does lead. It's Nicholas Noggle in second place, and, well, you see Nathan Maurer there in third. John Kinder in fourth. He's been strong, but kind of up and down this evening. Adam Lancaster, where did he come from? He's currently fifth. Justin Winters recovers into sixth for now. Ronnie Shirk up to seventh despite being involved in that one. Scott Fritz as well has a lot of damage. He's in eighth. Jack Bauer ninth. Chris LeBourgeois 10th. You see the next 10 on your screen now as we get ready to get back green flag racing here at Bristol Motor Speedway. Joe Donahue, and it's been a wild first half. I look forward to the next half of racing and where this one will take us. It's been a lot of fun to watch so far, but man, these big incidents could really have an effect on the end. We're coming to lap 129 as Robertson, your leader, Noggle second place. The pace car dips into pit lane, and we're back green flag racing right there. There they go.
Yeah, and they stayed together for a little bit longer than they have been so far on the restarts there. Brandon Robertson held them back a little bit for a little while there. Justin Winters, to see him making a pass now to get himself into the top 5 around Adam Lancaster. Well, we should give Ronnie Shirk Jr. some credit because he's up in 8th spot right now, his first start in the series, and he is rocking the house. He's only in 8th spot, but that's plenty good. 8th place in such a competitive series with such good drivers right now. He's running on the inside of Scott Fritz right here through turn 4, and he's just doing a pretty good job right now, staying consistent, trying to keep his nose out of trouble.
I think he did make it out to Darlington last week, but we didn't see much of him here at PitStop TV. Glad that he's in the top 10 right now. It's also worth mentioning, actually, Chris LeBourgeois. Despite missing the back end of Charlotte because of that hurricane, I forget what the name was now, he has moved up into 9th place, and he might have... He's got one of the cleanest cars on the racetrack right now, actually. He might have something here in the number 83. Of course, these guys do have a fast repair to try and keep them in this one, but LeBourgeois taking care of his machine at the current moment. Brandon Robertson leads. It's lap 133 of 250. Nicholas Noggle all over the back end, though. John Kinder third. It's Nathan Maurer fourth, and Justin Winters in fifth.
Especially in the long stint, he's got to have some rhythm, try to keep out of control to be happy running the certain rhythm there. Looking at this, whoa, that's Brandon Robertson sliding right there. He probably slid into that spot because he lost a lot of momentum. And coming out of it, he drops back to third. They're capitalized. Mars going to try to do the same. Brandon Robertson might have gotten into a hole, but even it looked like he got a little bit more damage on that car before.
So Nicholas Noggle is still leading. You saw some big slides there through some of them, and that gives that P2 position to John Kinder. So Kinder moves up a spot in the Rims 1 Ford Mustang, and leader I totally missed that, but Rims 1 is going to be sending $10, it looks like, to Nicholas Noggle, the leader, that time through. And Noggle leads through 3 and 4. Kinder in second place, and everybody getting a bit spread out there at the front. They're still somewhat stacked up through the top 5. Lancaster in 6th, pictured here with Scott Fritz behind, and that's where Ronnie Shirk Jr. comes in. He's battling for a 7th spot from the 8th position. Grenier's in 9th, and he gets ahead of Le Bourgeois, who now has company from Wyatt Brackett, who it looks like is going to take 10th away, maybe not. Le Bourgeois gets a run down the front stretch.
Yeah, and Le Bourgeois, you were right. He's got a clean car. It's pretty clean as he's been fighting here. He's been running in the mid-pack throughout the course of this one. Obviously, the mid-pack has dynamically changed a lot in the last handful of laps, the last 40 laps or so. It's been very different. So Le Bourgeois is just trying to get through this middle stage of the race, trying to get his car home to a point where he can try to fight maybe for some top 5, 3, maybe even the win. And see what happens for him. But still up front, Nick Noggle leading the way. John Kinder, Nathan Maurer, your top 3 as we complete lap 142 on to lap 143 here. We're getting close to 100 laps to go, so we're getting close to the big countdown starting here.
So as Joe said, Nicholas Noggle leading. I know his mic is a bit interesting. I think his connection can be trying to fail us a little bit, but we'll get through that. And we're coming up to 100 laps to go. And big slides here for Brandon Robertson. I think he's been on the fence a couple extra times. He let Maurer go on by, and now he's fighting with Justin Winters. And holding that 88 up, I think, right now, because he doesn't want to lose another position. But Justin Winters, of course, wants to get on by. He wants to get 4th place. But I think the 88 just being patient. You see a fight further back, and this is Scott Fritz and Ronnie Shirk Jr. that we were talking about a little bit ago. And Ronnie Shirk Jr. suddenly has a piece underneath him in that number 7. He's fighting up into, well, he's fought into 8th so far. We'll see if he can get 7th as Scott Fritz catches the outside wall, gets turned up underneath Adam Lancaster, and see if he can fight for 6th place. Gets right to the back of the number 28, but can't do anything with him. Here comes Shirk to the bottom side. Will he make a move into 1? He holds back for now, but these guys all over one another, and I wonder how much longer Shirk is going to wait. You see Ghostface in the back end of the 28 of Lancaster, right nose to tail on the outside of turns 3 and 4. They stay just as is right now, and Ronnie Shirk falls back in behind.
Yeah, we're still working over here with this connection thing that's going on my end, but it's looking good for them up front now. John Kinder leading the way, and like Shirk running here with Scott Fritz and Grenier. You saw him behind as well. Grenier running with a lot of damage on his car. He's been involved in a couple incidents here, so you can see now on your screen John Kinder weaving his way through the traffic and trying to keep it clean, as we've seen already tonight that the lap traffic has a pretty major effect on the leaders.
And just as the leaders get into that lap traffic, a caution flag will fly, and it looks like Nick Mills might have gotten a piece of things, trying to piece this one together and see who might have been involved. I wonder if, well, it's really hard to say. I wonder who might have been in this one. We'll just go back and see who we might see slowed down. I really wonder why Nick Mills was slow, and I think that might have something to do with the cause of the yellow here. It's lap 151, and Joshua Abbey just came off the wall and hooks the 8 car around. Well, actually, body slams the 8 car and sends him around, and right in front of the leaders as well, so it's a good thing John Kinder was looking up ahead. And then Nick Mills barely turns down underneath after the caution has already flown. Turns underneath the 08 of Nicholas Noggle. You did see, obviously, that Kinder has taken over the race lead, and this is where we might see these guys coming for tires, exactly what they're going to do. So it looks like it's 50 laps each time that these guys are going on each set of tires, and John Kinder going to come down the pit lane to bring everybody with him.
Yeah, everybody coming in together here. 50 laps would get us to lap 200, and then they'd be running another 50-lap run. So maybe with a little bit of strategy and a little bit of patience, conserving your material, save that rubber, we could see it go on one stop, assuming it goes green the rest of the way. But Andrew, I don't know if they're going to make it the whole way without another yellow.
Yeah, I'm not so sure that we can get 100 laps in without something happening. It's been a pretty good race, actually, though. Pretty good stretches of green flag racing, and these guys being able to actually battle things out. But cautions have definitely reigned supreme, and I think the restarts are definitely mattering more than anything else right now. It's important to have that track position and come out ahead. And you know what? Ronnie Shirk Jr. is going to do just that. I wonder if that was a two-tire stop. Let's go back and see what he does in the pit lane. I'd imagine this has to be a two-tire stop for Ronnie Shirk. We'll see what he does in the pit lane. Maybe no tires for Ronnie Shirk. Maybe fuel only. I don't see that car jack up at all. And is he going to stick with it? It looks like he is. Bold move out of the number 7.
Very interesting strategy call here for the 7 indeed. He's trying to do something. He wants to get up front. Obviously missing so many of the races so far in the season. He did race last week. Obviously I had my unfortunate incidents with salmonella last week, so I was unable to attend Darlington. But Ronnie Shirk has not competed for the championship here, so he's trying to do something unique, something different to try to get up front, because he's looking for that race win, and that's what he's here for. He wants that win.
You see Jack Bauer with no front end on that number 48. Slow on the top side. Looks like having to go to the back of the line. It's been a wild one, and it looks like is David Brackett. David Brackett, I think, stayed out this time, which is going to prompt Ronnie Shirk to pit. But David Brackett has not pitted under this yellow flag. So actually, David Brackett is going to be our race leader this time. And I don't think John Kinder gets the message that it looks like Brackett wants the top side. I don't know if John Kinder's been on the front row yet to pay attention to that part, but they're single... I guess they'll figure it out by turn 4. I think David Brackett properly wants the top, but I think John Kinder was a bit confused there. Regardless, they'll line up with Brackett on the bottom, Kinder up top, and this should give the lead right to the 21, but we'll see how well David Brackett can fight them off. Into the restart zone, they get going, and a really late restart out of Brackett, and they stack up behind. Noggle gets put 3 wide with Winters and Robertson off of a big checkup for him.
Yeah, 3 wide off the start. I'm really glad that they kept it clean there, but David Brackett on the older tires, obviously these guys... colder tires versus older tires, but David Brackett's start wasn't really what he wanted. He's holding on pretty well right here. You see Nathan Maurer in behind him with Justin Winters, the 971 and the 88 following that Yingling, that beautiful Yingling number 38. But they go down the inside now. David Brackett, there'll probably come a point here where he's going to start getting eaten up by the guys on fresh rubber.
Oh, hard in the wall.
See, the Brackett got in the wall there with the older tires. Fritz getting close to Adam Lancaster and Brandon Robertson.
There they go.
Contact, and there it is.
Oh, Noggle! Matt Grenier involved. Le Bourgeois gets a piece, and this is a big one. I commend David Brackett for giving it a shot, but that's exactly what led to that stack-up, unfortunately. And, we have a big incident out of turn 4 for a couple of guys. It wasn't actually too big, but just a couple of big hits for what it's worth. You see Scott Fritz riding in behind the 38. He gets a tag from Lancaster down the backstretch, and then the 38 just gets the wall real hard there, and they both go around.
Yeah, the older rubber getting used up, and he's definitely not going to be able to carry the same momentum through the corner as everybody else, but he's going to be trying to, and it caught him out that time into the corner. Unfortunate for Nick Noggle. He was up front, finally leading laps. With Travis Miller's mishaps, he finally got the chance to be the car at the front end of the field. And now falling in behind and then falling victim to a situation he could not control. And he's going to have to get that car fixed back up again and try to catch up again. And that was a heavy hit, too. That was a big one for the 08 car.
Yeah, I think that's going to take Nicholas Noggle out of this unless he has a faster pair in the bank. That number 08 is not going to be competitive as is. He's going to need a faster pair to get back into this one. We'll see if he takes one this time. Oh, he might not. Oh, he might not have made pit entry quite right. We'll see if he
didn't look like he made it.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they count that cone, or the box, that orange box back there in turn 2 as the pit entry marker. It escapes me whether or not that counts, but he does get into the pit lane, it looks like, and he's going to come in for service. I want to follow him and see, because he's been quick. I want to see if he takes a faster pair on this one, because if not, his day might be done.
Well, remember, he did have contact earlier in the race, and it wasn't as severe as this. But
He does.
Oh, yep. There we go. All right, we're in the bag. He's got it. He's fast repair. Used it right there. And out of the pits, the 08's going to come. Stay on the lead lap. That's a lucky break. That's a good thing to see for Nick Noggle.
And of course, those fast repairs is safeguard for these drivers, but you don't want to have to use it ever, especially with 90 laps left at Bristol. A lot of things can happen in just 500 feet, let alone 90 laps around this half-mile Coliseum. These gladiators getting ready to go back at it. Pace car lights stay on one more time. But man, it has certainly been something. We showed you the weather earlier on. Let's see the weather now, and it's definitely cooled down. The track temp only down 3 degrees, and the air temp really hasn't changed much. But that track temp is going to continue to fall as night pushes on, and over the course of the next 90 laps, I think it should fall further into the 80s. Very calm winds, getting up to around 10 miles an hour or so at times, but not really affecting these guys at all. And as far as what's happened so far in this race, we're now on our 10th yellow flag with 6 lead changes. Hard to believe we've only had 6. These guys really have been mixing it up a lot, but in fairness, Travis Miller led a lot at the start.
Yeah, Travis Miller was really on it at the beginning of the race here, and it has been interesting to see when we get passes for the race lead, but it's hard. It's so hard to make passes. The leader's getting fresh air. He's getting through the traffic first, and we've seen the lap traffic catch out some of these guys throughout the course of this one, but the lights are out. They're going to line them back up, and we're going to turn them loose again here on lap 164, turning now to lap 65 when we get back to green flag right here.
As I like to say, we're going to re-rack them and we'll restack them. Getting ready to go green flag racing for 86 more laps when we come to the green flag. So, man, like I said, it's been something so far through 164. We'll see how the next 86 go. And John Kinder, a great restart, gets launched across the line. Brandon Robertson going to follow suit, gets clear of Maurer into 1. Winner's following as well, and Scott Fritz still in the top 5 despite some damage.
Yeah, Scott Fritz is hanging on there, but Nathan Maurer did not get the restart he wanted on the inside. It seems like a pattern is occurring here on the restarts. The leader picks the outside, gets a great run off the top with the momentum. Brandon Robertson was loose there down the backstretch, but Maurer just got caught out by John Kinder's timing, was caught sleeping a little bit there, and fell back to third on the restart from Brandon Robertson, who is kind of all over the place right now in that tied Toyota, but he's definitely getting it done. He's still holding on to second place.
So Robertson continues to lead this trio, but John Kinder leads the race right now as he tries to put some time on the number 2 car of Robertson with that damage. The New Englander definitely familiar at this point to having some damage on his car, and it's really no fault of his own. He's just been caught up in a couple of really unfortunate incidents, so the Tide machine going to fall back. And we saw pedigree on his car for a while. Now it's tied on that number 2 Toyota Camry. Justin Winter is going to try and go on by him here as it looks like that 2 car is going to slide back a few spots, and he gets cleared by Justin Winters. Maurer starting his drive back up to John Kinder, possibly coming to 80 laps to go here, Joe. And Scott Fritz even has company for that 5th place position. The UNOH, the University of Northwestern Ohio Chevrolet Camaro, in trouble from behind. The Ghostface Brewing, number 28, trying to go on by.
Yeah, Adam Lancaster kind of started the race sleeping a little bit in the back end, and then he kind of brought it back up to the front here. He definitely took advantage of some of his competitors getting into contact and getting into trouble, but he's all over the tail of Scott Fritz right there. You saw him almost actually, it looked like into turn 3 that last time. He almost maybe gave him a little love tap going into the corner, but he's holding on. He's in 6th place. He's stayed there for a significant portion of the middle of this race. And there's plenty of track left to run. There's plenty of time left for the 28 to start moving to the front.
Speaking of to the front, what do you say we go from the back to the front here and we recap the top 15? So Chris LaBourgeois right now is actually riding in that 15th position, and Chris has had a very up and down season, up and down night as well. He's been up front a couple of times, but mostly riding around here having a quiet night. He's in front of Worthington and Wiggin back here in 16th and 17th. And actually, LaBourgeois going to lose 15th position, it looks like, to Worthington. So we'll now catch up with Worthington a little bit, who started in the 20th position, is up 5 spots right now, but he's got a ways to go if he wants to get that hard charger by Ghostface Brewing. He's certainly not the guy who needs a beer yet, but he is working on it as he passes Jack Bauer Bauer for that 14th spot. Sorry, 15th, actually. I think Bauer's a lap down. So Nick Mills up ahead, the next car for position, and actually he goes by David Brackett, so we'll start off with Brackett in the 38, who led to the restart the last time, but those, or no, sorry, 2 times ago, but those old tires caused an incident, and he has fallen back for, well, he started 23rd, though, so to be in 14th is still a decent night. You got a couple of laps led as well. Nick Mills up ahead of him. He started 22nd. He's currently 13th. He's been up as high only as 11th, but if he can keep the car clean the rest of the way, he might still have something in that number 8. He's following Wyatt Brackett, of course, in that number 33 car. A new paint scheme for him, who started 21st, is up 9 spots to 12th place, and is trying to continue going forward. He was up to 7th earlier on. We'll see if he can get back up there. Ronnie Shirk Jr. has been up there. Almost took the lead on that restart a couple of times ago. I think if he just kept with that strategy, he could have made some good things happen, given how that all worked out. But Ronnie Shirk started 17th, up 6 spots into 11th, and he's following Travis Miller in a Ford, as opposed to the Chevys we just had. So Travis Miller, of course, he led a ton of laps earlier on, Joe, but he's back into 10th place right now. After starting second, leading 103 laps, he's looking to turn his night back around. He's currently following Joshua Abbey, who is all over that outside wall, and I think just by happenstance, kind of wall-riding him just a little bit. It's working out for him, but not quite enough, as Miller's going to try to go on by Joshua Abbey. In fact, he's going to lose that spot to Ronnie Shirk as well. He was up inside the top 10, now into 11th, so the driver who started 14th, starting to have a decent night, but starting to fall back into that kind of midfield area. But Matt Grenier, with all that damage, missing the front end and the rear end, looking a bit like Terry Labonte in 99, or was it 96? Regardless, Matt Grenier currently riding in 8th position. No laps led for the Terry Labonte throwback, but he could still work his way up, especially if he has a fast repair in the bank.
All right, man, caution is out.
And a yellow flag flies. Oh, Le Bourgeois, it looks like, is going to be at the center of this one.
And Le Bourgeois was just doing a really nice job of keeping his nose clean tonight. He was doing a great job in that 83 Monster Chevy. We'll see what happens here. He comes out at turn number 4. He's on the outside of Daniel Worthington. And Wiggin in front of him.
Oh, just catches the wall, and Bauer's there. And nowhere for Jack to go. And big contact for those two.
Yeah, I just ran out of room. He came off the corner and maybe got a little tight. Maybe he just misjudged it a little bit. They've been running for a long time, so their eyes are starting to play their tricks on them. They're starting to get a little too comfy, a little too tired in their simulators right now, and maybe caught himself out there and brought out a yellow.
These guys are going to pit. It seems a little bit early, I suppose, because they were doing 50-lap stints on these tires. Now a little bit ahead of that 50-lap marker. They're actually coming in with, let's see, just under 70 to go, so 65 or so laps remaining for these drivers. Earlier than I would have thought, but maybe they just want to run it out to the end. I mean, I think you could definitely run 65 laps at Bristol on a set of tires, but by the end, by lap 250, these guys are going to be screaming for grip.
Yeah, well, that is assuming they go the whole way like that, which the way this race has turned out, I'm not so sure I believe that that's going to happen. We've been seeing some yellows coming out fairly consistently here. And, you know, once the race starts getting to the ending stages, we've got a lot of good drivers and good cars out here competing. I think they're going to start getting a little aggressive and a little antsy with each other. We'll probably see some more yellows coming out as the race off pit road. That was a close one. I think John Kinder was able to get out in front of Nathan Maurer, but that was close. That was a close race off pit road right there.
Yeah, that was, and it looked like for a second that maybe Maurer could have beat the 21 out, and it looks like he did. Maurer beats, just barely, John Kinder for that spot, but you know who's going to beat them both by staying out is Justin Winters, who has not pitted now in 35 laps. I wonder if he's trying to go deeper into this race. I wonder if they're either one set of tires short and had to kind of split the difference in this back end of the race, or I'm really not sure what, if they're just trying to pit early to just get it out of the way or what have you. But Justin Winters, rather, staying out under this yellow flag. And, you know, it's actually been a decent Bristol race, I think. Given that we've only had 11 cautions now, maybe it's 12. We'll look at the race info. Yeah, 11. It's actually been a pretty solid race, all things considered. Sometimes you have these wreck fests where you have 20 cautions in the first 150 laps, but this has been exciting. There's been a lot of good battles for each position so far, and sure, there's been yellows, but it hasn't been too bad just yet.
No, I would agree with that. Absolutely. We've had some really nice long green flag stints, and definitely we caught up to lap traffic a couple times. We talked about that coming into the show. Is that going to be a factor? How much of a factor is it going to be? They don't get the chance to have lap traffic as part of the equation very often, so that was cool to see, and it's been working out pretty well. Travis Miller has brought that blue BRP Ford back up towards the front now, so he's got his head back in the game. Justin Winters on the outside here leading us to the green flag, but he stayed out. The rest of them got fresh rubber. And off the start, a great restart on the top side for both him and Travis Miller. So put championship leader and second place running second and first respectively here off the restart.
With all those laps led for Miller, I wonder if they'd exit Bristol right now tied if they finish this way. Winters gets the wall, and suddenly, Travis Miller, where did he come back from? Gets his fast repair, gets back into this one. At least I think he took his fast repair. Maybe not, actually. He's still got some damage, and he's going to get alongside Winters into 3. Trying to pull a slider. Oh, it doesn't work quite as well on asphalt as it does on dirt. They all stack up through this top 5. You can throw a blanket over all of these little piggies, and they fight through 1 and 2. Kinder down to the bottom side. Well, the middle, actually. They go 3 wide. Miller just barely gets in front of Winters, rather. Maurer to the bottom side of Justin Winters, trying to swallow him up. Here they come further behind. And Robertson down to the inside wall. He wrecks. They keep racing. Finally, we get the yellow flag.
That was a good group of racing right there. Maurer was really on the charge. Travis Miller got back up to the front, but Maurer had a lot of momentum. Winters was trying to hold on as best as he could. He had the older rubber, like we said. Kinder trying to get around him there. You saw him get loose. And then Robertson seemed like he got all out squirrely on his own there and brought himself down. He tried to keep control of the number 2 car. It just didn't quite work out. He hit the inside wall, bringing out this yellow. We're on lap 194, though, so we're getting close to what would have been the normal pit stop strategy, assuming 50 laps here. But back to yellow flag, and we get to regroup because that was a hectic piece of the race. That was a really awesome, dynamic racing right there.
Yeah, that was great stuff out of the entire front end of the field, and that was perfect Bristol restart racing. Justin Winters is going to bring it down the pit lane, and unfortunately, I don't think that strategy of staying out is going to work out for him at all. He got swallowed up on that restart, and now is going to have to pit off sequence and follow a little ways back, and I don't think the difference in tire is going to help him at all right now. Quite simply, he's on about the same tires as these guys, maybe 2 laps different. When you take the caution laps out of things, and I just don't think that advantage is going to be enough to make a difference for Justin Winters. See all the marbles down there as well, all over the apron. That tells you how hard these guys are pushing it and how much these tires do wear out at a place like Bristol. Really high speeds lately at this place, especially with the higher downforce package they had. They have moved to the lower downforce package on the short tracks, and that's changed things up a little bit, but still pretty darn quick around this half mile. In fact, the world's fastest half mile.
Yes, it is the world's fastest half mile, and yeah, they've been doing pretty okay. We'll have to see how the tire degradation continues, assuming these guys might be running one more pit stop. If we can get some green flag racing, I think we probably would see one more. And Travis Miller, Nathan Maurer, John Kinder up front. These are some big names in this series. They know what they need to do to get to the line first. They know how to win. Nathan Maurer, obviously, yet to crack that first win in the Bluegrass iRacing series here. But Travis Miller has won 2. John Kinder, the defending winner so far from Darlington last week. Scott Fritz in 4th. Nick Noggle, they've both been strong tonight. Noggle's fighting his way back up. He's doing as best as he can in the 08. Toyota's brought it back up into the top 5. So I'm expecting one more pit stop, probably, assuming we don't get too many crazy yellows and these guys don't have to use up their fast repairs or get damage fixed and not have a fast repair. That would be very unfortunate, especially for drivers like Travis Miller, who used his up, assumingly, already and has fought his way all the way back to the front. But if he got into an incident and didn't have a fast repair, he'd be down for the count here in Bristol. That's for certain.
I actually don't think Miller has used his yet because he's still got some of the same damage, just a little bit less so. In fact, he's even got that rear damage. I think Miller was able to save his fast repair thus far, and that means if he gets in another incident, he could still be saved. Nicholas Noggle, though, in 5th place, we know he's used his, so watch out for the number 08. He's been hard charging this evening. He's been quick, but an incident would write him out of this one if it is heavy enough. We're coming to lap 199 of 250, just about 4/5, 80% of the way through this one. Lap 199, we're back green flag racing, and they'll go into one side by side.
Yeah, and I was about to say on that restart, Nathan Maurer, one of the few guys who I've thought so far could kind of run the bottom off of a restart, but he got caught out sleeping with Travis Miller there. Scott Fritz and John Kinder side by side through turn 1. Scott Fritz now pulls in behind, and they single file out. Adam Lancaster all over the tail of the Ohio driver's number 100 car. Noggle on his inside. This Grenier still running with them as they are still packed up pretty nicely, especially Adam Lancaster right now on the tail of Scott Fritz.
Maurer had just about gotten to the back end of Travis Miller, but had to fall back just a bit. Now John Kinder rides in 3rd. You see Scott Fritz in 4th. Adam Lancaster riding in 5th place right now. Nicholas Noggle gets into 6th. You see Grenier down there as well in 7th. Joshua Abbey up into 8th. How about that? Ronnie Shirk into 9th, and Wes Wigand breaks the top 10. Noggle going to try and make a pass on Lancaster. Lancaster hard in the wall in turn 1. Recovers, almost gets to the back end of Noggle, almost his payback. We'll see if anything comes of that, but right now the two leaders starting to go at it.
Yeah, they are. They're starting to get a little large bargey going on right now. We got less than 50 laps to go in this one. Maurer still on the tail of Travis Miller, and down the inside he's going to look. 971 car on the bottom, and we thought maybe he could run the inside line. Doesn't look like it paid off, but he's still running. You're on board with John Kinder in the Rim 1 car, and Maurer looked like he maybe got a little, not loose, but a little unstable off the corner that time. He's falling back. Kinder in the 21 on the outside, and we have a yellow bringing him out.
It looks like everybody's slow stacked up back here. Going to try and find where this one might have come out. And, man, it's so hard to say sometimes because they recover so quickly, get back rolling. But I'm wondering if it happened around one of the brackets, because I saw them off pace on our telemetry. Oh, it actually happened up ahead. Oh, Matt Grenier and Ronnie Shirk possibly, and then they stacked up more. Matt Grenier goes around big time out of turn number 2, and Ronnie Shirk was in some way involved, it looks like. You saw Grenier was fighting with Noggle at one point. He had fallen that way behind Lancaster just ahead of Joshua Abbey. I wonder if those two maybe made contact out of turn number 2 the next time around, I guess. Find out what happens. Oh, Scott Fritz actually. Oh, Noggle in another one.
That's really not what we needed to see right there for Noggle. He's already used his fast repair up tonight, so any damage he gets, he's going to have to try to get it fixed in the pits when he can, or just kind of have to deal with it, because that's really unfortunate for that 08 car. He already used his fast repair. Hopefully nothing too major right there for Noggle to deal with for the rest of this race.
I think it's going to happen right here where Fritz is going to tag the ball right there. Noggle just blindsided by it. Lancaster as well in the Ghost Face Brewing number 28. Abbey comes through, and he just never really let up at all. He wanted to get those spots for sure, but I don't think he ended up getting those, or if so, he pitted and lost them in that pit stop. But Travis Miller then will lead on the far side of lap 200, now on a lap 208 of 250. Maurer sticks with him. Kinder stays out as well. Noggle, Abbey. Actually, Abbey up into 5th place. So we got one of those positions doing that. Lancaster in 6th. Ronnie Shirk in 7th. Then Justin Winters, who pitted 10 laps later technically, but really only about 3 green flag laps difference in his tires to the rest of these guys. He rides in 8th. Wyatt Brackett there in 9th. And then these guys all on about the same tire strategy all the way through back to Brandon Robertson now, who has pitted. And that's really going to hurt the drive for the number 2 car because he's in 18th. That's incredible that he goes from racing up for the lead to now 18th position.
Yeah, well, it's just a situational thing that can happen with Brandon Robertson. You gotta keep your car clean. You can't have incidents. We saw him have. He's been involved in small stuff. We saw him have his own incident where he got loose off the corner, hit the inside wall. Things like that take you out of contention for races. Obviously, so that's why some of these guys up front have been very fortunate to fight their way back up. Travis Miller's incidents that he had earlier on, early in the race, you can bring it back, but we've got less than 50 laps to go. We're at Bristol. That's not a lot of time. So for Brandon Robertson to start having issues now, that's not really the time to be having them, as opposed to Travis Miller, who had an issue earlier in the race, had time to work his way back up. But lights are out on the pace car. We're going to be bringing him back with 40 laps to go in this one.
We are being told that Travis Miller has used his fast repair, so I was mistaken there, but the damage looks the same, so I wonder what had happened to him in the number 22. We're coming to the green flag. We'll see how the final 40 laps of this one go, as we will have 40 laps to go once we cross the start-finish line. And we get back at it here at Bristol. A big restart for Miller. Maurer checks up on the bottom side. That's going to hold Kinder back, almost contact through 1 and 2, almost a bump and run right off of the restart. Noggle going to try and get on by these guys on the top side, and he does for now.
Maurer ran a really nice line through 3 and 4 right there. He's stuck on the inside of Nick Noggle and John Kinder right now, but he was really ran up high for the inside. More like a middle line. This Noggle stuck in behind Travis Miller. Actually, that helped Nathan Maurer make up some time, make up some run, but he got a little loose or maybe unstable out of the corner again. And Noggle tries to diamond the corner, trying to catch up to Travis Miller. Right now, they are back to single file running. Maurer fell back to 4th place with Kinder in 3rd, Noggle in 2nd, and Travis Miller back up front leading the way again in the number 22.
Noggle trying to defend Kinder, but also try to fight Miller. And we'll see, he does get to the inside of Miller right here through 3 and 4. Can he hang on? Almost slides up into Kinder out of the corner. And now Kinder gets the fence through the center of 1 and 2. He's going to fall back into 3rd behind Noggle, who really is trying to bring the fight right back to Miller. I think he knows it's go time. He's got to get out of all the mid-pack shenanigans, and he has just got to see if he can get back up to the race lead if he wants to win this one. We now are to the far side of 35 laps to go, now 34 as we come across the line this time by almost a straightaway off. Easy to do here at Bristol where it all looks the same.
Yeah, well, Noggle's got it on right now. He knows it's go time. He actually just tapped the back end of Miller. I wonder what's going on with Miller, and if Noggle's just that hooked up right now, or if Miller's trying to fight with something. John Kinder in behind them as well. Usually when you get a train like this, somebody's going to try to make a move. John Kinder almost saw an opportunity there on the outside of the 2 first and second place cars. He's looking on the outside of Noggle, who's trying to get a run off the inside on the 20.
Oh, they're going to wreck after the fact! Oh, no. Oh, no.
That's a heartbreaker. Those were some really big names, some really tough competitors so far through this race, and we're coming down to crunch time. John Kinder, oh no, that's not what we needed.
And the video kind of cutting out there for a moment, but Winters also gets a piece, it looks like. Doesn't look like it was too heavy. We also have to figure out what the rest of that incident was, well, what actually brought out the caution flag. And, oh, I see Wiggin with damage that I didn't see him have before, and LaBourgeois and Grenier also involved down the backstretch. This is what brought the caution flag out that you saw come up just as Kinder and, I already forgot the name. Kinder and Noggle, that's who it was. Kinder and Noggle made the contact in 1 and 2. Oh my gosh, the rejoin.
Wow, that was just a slew of spinning cars, but Grenier on the inside, oh my goodness, I wouldn't be very happy about that.
So Wyatt Brackett, Nick Mills make contact, Bowers on the bottom side, and Grenier's just going to pull back onto the racing surface. You've got to be more careful of that for that exact reason.
Yeah, absolutely not sure what was going on there with the number 15. You have to know as a driver that you can't pull that kind of stuff. You can't just come up. There could be cars there. There were cars there. There were cars coming along full speed behind him, and Grenier just comes up in front of him. Not quite sure what happened there for him, but geez, that could have been avoidable by a lot.
And that could have been avoidable as well. We just watched off into turn number 1. Look back at it, and Noggle just turned himself off of Kinder's nose. It looks like John Kinder has a fresh car. I don't think he's got any damage on it now. So he must have had the fast repair in the bank. But Nicholas Noggle, he's going to have to come down and get service, and that might be his day pretty much done. It's unfortunate because he's been so quick at some of these races, but for instance, right there, just entirely his own fault. It happens in racing, though. I talked about earlier where it's easy coming up out of the corner or even going into the corner. You know, as the inside car, you want to get up as high as you can to get yourself an arc down into the next corner, but you've got to be so careful not to move up on somebody, and it all happens in an instant, so it's hard to make that decision as a driver, but you've just got to be so careful of that because that's what happens if you're not. Meanwhile, I'm not sure about this one. This is an interesting strategy, and you know what? I think I like it, actually, with only 25 or so to go, inside of 30 to go at least. Nick Mills and Matt Grenier stay out. I'm not so sure for Matt Grenier, only because he was just in that incident pretty hard, but Nick Mills, I think his motor is probably okay and should actually fire off decently, but he does have 37, now 38 laps on those Goodyear Eagles, so that's going to hold the number 8 back just a little bit. And, well, we're going to see how it all works out. I don't think Grenier's been on the front row for restarts. I think he's waiting to get the top side, but the leader does have choice, and Grenier's going to have to file in on the bottom side, and he finally does. We lost Mills for a moment, but Mills will be the leader coming to this restart, Joe. Almost 25 to go. We're going to have 27 to go at the time of the restart. This time by, you see Miller Kinder there in the waiting. Winners is, well, actually 6th. Maurer's 5th, and they'll get things back going. With 27 to go, Nick Mills, your race leader, stack up on the bottom. Grenier doesn't get going. That's going to give Kinder the position over Miller, and that's so, so important.
Yeah, that is crucial, and like you said, these two at the front, as they see they go down to the bottom, they pretty much know what they're doing. Oh, we got a spinner, Joshua Abbey around on the backstretch. Let's see what became of this one. We got another yellow immediately to follow.
So watching Joshua Abbey in the blue 05 and just gets loose. Oh, that's a hard hit.
Yeah, it did look like he got into the wall. At first, it looked like he might have just slid and spun out and came to a stop, but he actually got a good chunk of that wall right there. So he's probably gonna have to get that repaired because his engine's definitely gonna have some sort of damage with that car. So that's unfortunate for Joshua Abbey, who has had his moments in this race so far, both whether they be good or bad. He's had some moments, and at the closing stages of this one, that's not what we wanted to see for her.
So Nick Mills is going to come down to the pit lane, it looks like. John Kinder will be left as the race leader. Grenier, though, stays out. A very interesting move from the driver of the 15. He must not have tires in the bank to work with. In fact, we can check as to how many pit stops he's made, and, well, he has made 5. It's hard to say, then, if he's got tires or not. But Nick Mills is going to come down in the number 8 car and come get some tires, I would imagine, get back out there and try and finish this one out. 25 coming to 24 laps to go under caution this time, Joe. And this is where cautions breed cautions, and it's so important as Brandon Robertson, you see, gets that lap back. That actually should put him back on the lead lap, I believe. I'm going to double check on that one. No, Robertson is now 3 laps down, it looks like, so he should go to either, well, 3 or 2. It depends on if he was 4 or 3 laps down when he got that lucky dog. But it's so important for these drivers to keep it clean. And obviously it's go time, but you've got to run another 20 laps, and you've got to pace yourself in those big moves trying to get up to the front to try and win this thing.
Yeah, we know cautions breed cautions, and Bristol is one of, if not the best example of that. But the guys towards the back right now that still are going to maybe have the thought in their mind that they can get up front, that's where you're going to be watching right now. 20 laps to go when you're in second place, not as big of a deal as 20 laps to go when you're running in 10th. So the back marker, well, not the back markers, the mid-pack is going to be the place to be watching at this stage, because they're the ones who are going to really get antsy and really start to feel that they need to get their cars up front right now. John Kinder, Travis Miller, I would think those guys are going to be pretty okay. At the same time, you want to be the leader at all times. Everybody wants to be the leader. Everybody wants to be the winner. So they're still going to be racing hard up front for it. I'm interested to see what happens with Grenier. Grenier running on the older tires with the damage on the car. Everybody around him, pretty fresh tires, pretty much new tires, only getting in about a half a lap of green flag action this time through. So we'll see what becomes of Grenier. Kinder and Miller already in front of him, so that shouldn't play in for them. But with Winters, who's going to start beside him, Maurer and Lancaster behind him, we'll be watching those guys to see what they do with the number 15 Cornflakes Terry Labonte car, which is an awesome thing to see here at Bristol as well. That car with a lot of history here at that track.
It looks like we've moved to single file restarts, and this is going to change things up big time because pace car lights are off, and they're all lining up single file. This is going to change things up drastically for all of these drivers coming to this restart. John Kinder, the race leader, Miller in behind him. Then it's Grenier stacked up in front of Winters. Will he get out of the way? Oh, a stack up. Lancaster gets into Maurer. They go green flag racing off into turn number 1. It's lap 230 of 250.
Out of turn number 2 they come. John Kinder got a good start. Travis Miller, pretty good start, I'd say, for the number 22 car as well. And look at Grenier actually holding his momentum pretty well on the top side in the number 15 right there, holding back Justin Winters, who's really trying to get around him because his main competitor in the championship right now, Travis Miller, is running in second and he's running in fourth. Obviously, as we've seen with the points standings, there's plenty more than just Travis Miller fighting for the championship right now, but that is the main guy because that is who's in front of Justin Winters right now that he's fighting in the championship for. John Kinder, with a win, could be putting himself definitely back in the picture here.
Oh, Maurer in the wall, hard out of 4.
Maurer, he rode the wall through 3 and 4, probably got a little bit of damage, and when he came off of turn number 4, looked like he was just a little cattywampus off of it from the switched up. Yep, I got it in there. He came off the corner a little cattywampus and sideways, and it brought him back into the wall down the front stretch, but the number 971 is going to fall back off that one.
Meanwhile, look at this. Justin Winters up in front of Matt Grenier, and he's bringing the fight to championship contender Travis Miller. These two have been on one another all season long atop the point standing as they come into this evening separated by 1 point. Miller's led a ton of laps. Winters, though, has had an up-and-down evening along with him, and now Miller looks like gets cleared down the front stretch, so Winters going to take over second place, and assumingly will possibly tie or take the points lead. It's tough to say right now. We'll find out post-race. John Kinder driving away from these two, and that is going to shake things up as well, but not quite as much as if one of these two were to have a problem in the late goings. If they fall further back, John Kinder could walk out of here with possibly only a 5-point deficit or so.
Yeah, Kinder's been showing a lot of speed lately. He's had some good results, and especially coming off of the win last time. Number 21, he's looking for some momentum here in the championship. Plenty of racing left for him to catch up and make the pass in the title championship for Travis Miller and Justin Winters. So he's definitely thinking, well, right now he's definitely thinking about keeping that car underneath him and not getting squirrely off the corners. But he's thinking big picture. He's thinking about the championship. He knows what's going on.
He's not going to get most laps led this evening, but still over 50 laps led is certainly an accomplishment here at Bristol Motor Speedway. He's currently a second ahead of Justin Winters, who's starting to catch up just a little bit. It was, Miller sideways out of turn 2, almost got into Abbey down there on the bottom side. Lancaster's up to 4th. In 5th, we have none other than Ronnie Shirk Jr. I don't know where this guy came from, but I like this number 7 car. He's up into 6th. Then it's a dogfight back here for 7th. Well, actually, no, 6th, 7th, and 8th, as Shirk is actually in 5th. These guys really going at it now inside of 10 laps to go. And this is the biggest fight on the racetrack right now as Maurer is going to get clear of it, and Grenier is going to fall back behind Wyatt Brackett, who might just have a top 5 if he can get up just ahead of Maurer and Shirk. He's got his work cut out for him. Meanwhile, further back, the fight around the top 10 cutoff line is Worthington fighting off Wiggin, one of his teammates, and David Brackett trying to hold on to that position over Chris LeBourgeois. So Wiggin holds on to the 10th place for now, but Brackett is in 11th, and Worthington catches the fence there. Brackett's trying to go to the inside of Wiggin. This would be for 10th spot.
These guys are getting really into it, and they're actually doing a really good job. The cars look clean. The running looks smooth. It looks like this is some pretty good battles going on right now. Just coming up on 5 laps to go for these guys. So trying to get into the top 10, and maybe if the whole group of them starts catching up to the guys up front like Maurer, who's got a little bit of damage on his car, like Grenier, who's got a lot of damage on his car, they could start making passes on those guys too, maybe fight for a couple more spots.
And now we cut to the onboard because we're inside of 5 laps to go, following along with Justin Winters, who's trying to catch up to John Kinder. John Kinder has taken off on this last 20-lap run to the end, and he's starting to get into a little bit of lap traffic, but it's easy going so far. Coming to 3 laps to go this time by. A caution's going to fly! Nick Mills possibly in this one. We'll go back and see what happens.
Wow, and talk about a shakeup here. This is going to be interesting. Nick Mills on the top side. You see they're pretty much 3 wide right here out of the corner.
Noggle again.
Noggle.
Oh, and Wiggin and Brackett.
And David Brackett was involved too. David Brackett got up. It looked like he made contact and he slid down into the inside wall as well. So a couple cars causing this one.
So that was Wiggin and Brackett that made contact a little bit later on. Mills and Noggle, they make the contact to start it. And then Wiggin just gets loose and body slams Brackett. He had such a good run going to that point. You genuinely hate to see that for David Brackett. He's just had quiet runs all season long. The 38 was looking good. I mean, right here, it's pretty darn clean for a Bristol race. 200 and almost 50 laps into it. And then just, wow, big contact for him immediately out of this one. What this does do up at the front is give us a green, white, checkered with these top 2, John Kinder, Justin Winters, and Travis Miller in 3rd place. This changes everything. Now, if we stay single file, I think we're going to see some last-ditch efforts in these last 2 laps. If we go double file, I think we might see these guys get into one another and really stack up, maybe even 3 wide. It's so tough to say what we're going to see here, and it depends on how they line up for the restart.
Yeah, absolutely. The way that they line up is going to make or break it. It's going to change everything, all the dynamics of this restart. Double file would be very interesting to see. It'd be interesting to see what the leader does, how long they wait, how long until they go out of the corner. Obviously, I think the general trend tonight has been that the leader takes the top side, so their momentum would carry them forward. But I don't know. If they go single file, it will be interesting because everybody will have the same run off the top side. And I would think that it's possible for 2nd, 3rd, 4th place to maybe catch a little bit of a run on that as well. But double file would be a shakeup right now. So we'll see what they decide on. John Kinder up front, I think John Kinder definitely would want his single file restart right now. He'd want to keep Justin Winters behind him so that he can control it a little bit more. Justin Winters, Travis Miller, Adam Lancaster, that's the top 4. Nathan Maurer running in 5th right here when they get the green-white checkered green flag. John Kinder will be leading them down either way. Not sure if Justin Winters is going to line up beside him or not. So it'll be interesting to see what shakes the order up with this caution. You'd expect maybe somebody like Grenier to fall back a couple spots, maybe Maurer if he's got damage, whereas these 4 cars up front who've been trying to keep it clean.
We're going double file, Joe.
Laps. They're going double file. All right, so this is going to shake it up a lot. It'll be really interesting to see what becomes of this one as they're getting ready. You see Travis Miller warming up his tires on the 22 machine. He's just getting himself in the zone here because this is about to get pretty hectic right here, Andrew.
Coming to our first of potential, I think, 2 or 3 green-white checkers this evening at Bristol Motor Speedway. It's not Bristol without a late race yellow, especially a green-white checkered. Kinder up top, Winters on the bottom side. They're going to come to the restart zone, and Kinder gets fired off real well. Lancaster's going to follow suit, get to the outside of Winters through 1 and 2. Can he get up into 2nd place? Can Lancaster follow John Kinder's lead coming into turns 3 and 4 with a white flag in the air?
So they are going to get it, and John Kinder's leading pretty solid, but Adam Lancaster got a great restart as well. Kinder's got control of this one. Travis Miller down the inside of Adam Lancaster. Maurer's all over the tail end of the 28 as well, but through 3 and 4, there's no competition up front. John Kinder coming off turn 4, 2 in a row here at Bristol.
And there was contact behind, but they sorted out. Lancaster hangs on to 4th. Justin Winters, he put on a great fight in the late going, but even with that late race yellow, could not beat the 21. You see Lancaster giving his buddy a bump. They're both sponsored by Rims 1 and Ghostface, and oh my gosh, what a win for John Kinder. The frustration in the early goings here in the Bluegrass iRacing League for John Kinder were second to none. But since turning things around at about mid-season, I think Pocono was a big turning point for him. He's real strong again in Indianapolis. He shows up and just dominates Darlington, comes out at Bristol. He wasn't always the one to beat, but by the end, he was simply, once again, the fastest car on the racetrack and wins it at Bristol. I mean, he is on fire. Noah and I talked about the fact that if this was NASCAR Heat 5, he would have that momentum thing at the top where you get extra horsepower. That's exactly what's going on for John Kinder right now. This 21 is just so dang good. You can't beat him. You can't.
No, and he proved he's got the class tonight, too, because he kept his nose pretty clean all night long. A lot of the other guys got caught up in some incidents. Travis Miller obviously was involved in a couple. You see here, but John Kinder pretty clean throughout the course of the night, relatively speaking. I think very clean, and just patient, but he knew when to go. He knew when it was crunch time, and he was lucky to be where he was given the yellows in the late race stages, and he fought his way up. He definitely earned tonight's win.
And this is by no means going to put John in the points lead, but it's going to move him just a little bit closer to those guys who are leading things, Travis Miller and Justin Winters. We'll watch him burn things down here once again, and then we'll take our customary post-race break before bringing it right back to you with post-race interviews. Do not go anywhere. These are some interviews you are not going to want to miss with these drivers post-race at Bristol. We're going to have the whole top 3 for you shortly. This is PitStop TV with continuing coverage of the Bluegrass iRacing Series. We'll be right back with post-race coverage.
Sound art is a product that is a speaker and it's art. We combine it together and we call it sound art. What makes it so unique that any picture can be your speaker? Sound art gives you the high quality sound without the ugly speaker. This isn't a picture with a speaker, the picture is the speaker. Just imagine your wedding picture uploaded onto a canvas and now it's speaking 10,000 tunes. I mean, it's a very cool concept. What we like so much about it that you can take anything that means something very special to you, upload it on the canvas, have it hanging up in your room, your balcony, wherever you want to put it, and now it's a speaker. I mean, how cool is that? It's something that we have that and no one has. No one has this product. It's just a great gift to give anybody. It's just a neat concept. Around here we say, art never sounded so good.
We welcome you all back to Bristol Motor Speedway, continuing coverage from the Bluegrass iRacing Series, race number 8 of 12, and John Kinder is going to go back to back. Joe Donahue, I'll just give you race winner John Kinder. Go ahead and take it away.
The bag still.
All right, well, it's Joe Donahue here in the booth. John, you got a copy?
Yes, sir.
All right, John, well, 2 in a row here. You won at Darlington last week in dominant fashion, and tonight you've proven you're one strong competitor. Talk us through the strategy you seem like you pitted at just the right time to be in good position for the finish here.
Yeah, we were so close to being, 50 laps on each set, and I figured I'd take them now, and I didn't want to get caught out. I know Justin was on the opposite strategy, and he got a caution. I was hoping we get a green flag run there so we could put those tires to use, but it still played out.
Indeed, and it definitely tightened up the points championship for you, coming off of a win last time and then winning again. The championship's tightening up. Are you looking forward to the races left? Are you looking to tackle that championship hunt?
Yeah, I mean, I love racing, so it doesn't matter what track. Talladega's going to be a crapshoot. The Roval's going to be tough, and Martinsville's going to be tough. So, I mean, those three, anyone can have bad luck, and unfortunately, I don't have any throwaway races, so I got to have good finishes in each one.
Absolutely, and you pulled it together tonight. There are a lot of big names up front to be competing with. Obviously, your high competition here in the Bluegrass iRacing series. What does it mean to keep your nose clean? It seemed like you were very much successful in keeping your car out of trouble throughout the course of the race tonight.
Yeah, I pretty much rode until we got to about 100 to go, and I just wanted to keep the fenders on it, stay out of trouble, and then with 100 to go, it was time to go race. Everybody was racing pretty hard there after lap 150, but that made it fun.
Absolutely. So, congratulations, John. Is there anybody else you'd like to thank, or anything else you'd like to add here for the broadcast?
Yeah, I'd like to give a shout out to Rims One Online. If you're in the need for some tires or truck accessories, check them out. Also, Ghostface Brewery. Both of them came on to help the series out, and I really appreciate them.
Awesome. Well, congratulations, John. You drove a hell of a race tonight. Definitely earned this one for you. Good job, brother.
I appreciate it, man. And you guys do a great job at PitStop TV, and this Bluegrass Racing Series has got some really tough competition. It's a lot of fun.
I agree 100%. Thank you very much for your kind words, John. So we're going to bring in our second place driver now for Andrew, number 88 of Justin Winters here.
And so we'll get Justin Winters in here. And Justin, another up and down evening, but in the end, you hang on to get second place with almost a shot there at eventual race winner John Kinder. What was it like, obviously, trying to fight through all the lap traffic at times, just play the restarts the best way that you could, and on that last restart, that green-white checkered, trying to take a shot at John Kinder for the race win?
Very stressful, buddy. It was a tough race. We qualified mid-pack, exactly where I didn't want to be. It was a tough race for us, but again, we decided to do a little bit different pit strategy. Ended up on the same pit strategy and came home second. Again.
Yet another P2 for you to that same number 21. We go to Talladega next week, where obviously anything can happen, and I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of you guys end up using your drop week next week. I know you weren't too excited about Darlington, thought that was going to be a drop. You finished second. I'm not sure how you were going into this weekend at Bristol, but I don't think this will be a drop either. Finishing second place, we've got three more really, how do I put this, chaotic racetracks up ahead. Do you think you're using the drop weeks the next 3 weeks, or do you think you can still finish up front?
I think at Dega, anybody's got the opportunity to win, so my motto is, why not us? Roval, I mean, let's go. Never raced there in a series, so we'll see what happens, and Kentucky's a good track for me, so 2 of the last 3 I'm ready to go. That Roval's going to be tough.
Well, don't forget Martinsville in there as well, between the Roval and Kentucky. That's our penultimate round, and that's going to be another one like this one, I think, where it's going to be tough to hang on. How tough was it to hang on up there? I know, like I said, to open this up, you had kind of an up-and-down evening, only 6 laps led. I don't think the night that the 88 had really wanted, especially considering you've been one of the cars to beat this season, just hasn't always panned out your way.
Right. Martinsville's a good track as well. I love Martinsville. It's fun. It's like this track. It's all momentum. getting on and off the brake. Yeah, it was just a tough race. Bristol's tough, a lot of carnage. But at the end of the day, like I said, we finished second. I'm just ready to see what happens the rest of the season.
Absolutely. Well, Justin, of course, we want to thank you for this time this evening. We congratulate you on second place. Who do you have to thank this evening? Who do you have to shout out before we go to Talladega next week?
I want to thank Alan's Body Shop for being on the car, Boots Manufacturing for being on the car, Alex for spotting. Shout out to my mom. It's her birthday. Happy birthday, Mom. And thanks for Bluegrass iRacing Series for putting this on. And thank you guys for doing a wonderful job in the booth.
Once again, congratulations, Justin. We'll be talking to you, I'm sure, next week at Dega.
Yes, sir. You guys have a good night.
And that's Justin Winters, finishing second place. And Joe, he's been good recently. He's been good all season. Just can't quite wrap one of these things up. But you have third place finisher Travis Miller.
I do. I've talked with Travis Miller before, and I get to talk to him again. Travis, is Joe Donahue up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I hear you.
Well, Travis, you had to tackle a little adversity tonight. You got caught up early on, a couple of the early yellows, but you fought back. Talk us through, how did you get that car back up to the front?
I don't really know, to be honest with you. We just got a little loose going into turn 3 there, and then Brandon gave us a shot and really put us on the wall. And I wasn't going to pit. I was just going to kind of stay with it till the end of the tire run, but we had engine damage, so we had to come down and use a fast repair. And I was kind of mired back in traffic. We got hit again when a guy got spinning in front of us, and we just came down and fixed all that. And we just made a bold strategy there for 2 tires and gave us the track position we needed to try and contend. But I think we still had a little bit of engine damage because we were all on the same sets of tires, and Justin and John were just rocket ships. They were just pulling away. So it all worked out a little bit.
Well, if there was a face of adversity through this race, it would have been you. You fought like a dog to get back up there. Bristol, very unique track. It requires a whole different skill set from some of the other racetracks that we've been to. You've proven you have those skills tonight. How did you approach this race? What were you looking to do to get to the finish and to get there up front?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I was really not excited about this race. I like the racetrack. It's just when you start racing with everybody, things are so tight and a lot of things can go bad real quick. I mean, tonight was an example. So I was just hoping for a nice clean race and to come out with a clean finish, just so that we didn't get set back in the points too hard and use our drop week maybe for the Talladega or the Roval. But we were able to come out with a top 5, so that was good. And it was good racing while we were up there. It's just, the Bristol curse got me tonight, and we were able to persevere.
Absolutely. And you mentioned tight racing, and you mentioned the future races of this season. A very chaotic couple races here, going to Dega and the Roval, and then Martinsville to round ourselves out at Kentucky. Are you looking forward to the rest of the season that we have left? What are you thinking moving into those in terms of your hunt for the championship?
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. I mean, I ran pretty good at Daytona. Got really lucky on the last lap with miscue with Justin and the 51 there. But the Talladega should be okay as long as we can keep our nose clean through till halfway. We can kind of do something there. And the Roval, that's going to be interesting. I don't really have a lot of road course practice. I've practiced a little bit, but it's going to be interesting to see who can really be fast there. And it's going to take a lot of car control for sure.
Absolutely, I agree 100% with you right there. The Roval is definitely going to be showing some new driver skills in this series. Travis, before we let you go, do you have anybody else you'd like to thank? Anybody else you want to mention here on the broadcast for your run tonight?
Yeah, I just got to thank my spotter, Pat Reiser. He really helped me out tonight with some strategy calls and some wreck avoidance. Without him, I think we would have been in a lot of cautions when we were starting at the back there. So I got to thank him for all he does for me throughout this season, and the BRP iRacing series for all the help they give me on and off the racetrack. Gaston's Auto Sales, Emissions Tests Only, Precision Auto Clinic, the Bluegrass guys for putting this on, and to you guys for putting on the broadcast. It's always us.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Travis. And I know third place is tough when you start getting wins like you have been in this series so far, but you are very much impressive tonight. You did a great job getting that car back up front. Definitely a worthwhile points effort here in Bristol.
For sure. Hopefully we can get back up to the winner's circle sooner than later. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Have a good night.
And you as well. And that's going to wrap up our interviews with our drivers tonight. Andrew, like I said to Travis, it's adversity. It's getting through the race. It's keeping your nose clean, getting to the finish that puts you in good position. And absolutely, John Kinder did just that tonight.
That he did. And through dominating at Darlington, just coming in and stealing the show at Bristol, I wonder how he's going to find a way to win the next 4 weeks at Dega, the Roval, Martinsville, and Kentucky, because he just seems, like I've said so many times already, unbeatable right now in that number 21. Just finding ways to get up to the front and in the last couple of weeks win. I'm excited to see how the points stack up going into Talladega next week. But first, let's see how they finish this evening. Again, John Kinder. I keep getting names mixed up this evening, but John Kinder winning at Bristol Motor Speedway. It's Justin Winter's second place, not quite a half second back after that green-white checkered. Travis Miller third. Adam Lancaster took a shot at it, but finishes fourth. Nathan Maurer in fifth.
Yeah, and Ronnie Shirk did end up doing a good job here, running in sixth place, only his second start. Grenier held on to seventh. That was good to see him with that beat-up number 15 car getting in, staying inside the top 10. Wyatt Brackett moved up a little bit into 8th position here at the end of this one. Nicholas Noggle holding on to a top 10. He was running up front earlier in the race, and then obviously has had some issues tonight, and probably is going to want to put this one behind him. Wes Wigand rounds out the top 10 in the number 188 car as well.
Moving back to 11th position, Daniel Worthington recovers to a decent finishing spot. Brian Terry behind him. Keep in mind that Terry Family Racing sponsoring this evening's event here at Bristol. You can check in more about them and see them at Portsmouth Racing Complex. I think it's Portsmouth Racing Park in Portsmouth, Ohio. Everything from RC cars to full dirt late models, as I've been told. The Terry Family Racing, the Terry family does it all. And Nick Mills finishes up in behind that Terry Family Racing machine. He finishes 13th after staying out and getting the lead momentarily. Chris LeBourgeois recovers to 14th, and Joshua Abbey falls to 15th position.
16th place tonight was Brandon Robertson. He didn't quite keep his nose clean. He had a couple issues throughout the course of the evening in the number 2 car. 17th for Jack Bauer, also had a little bit of a rough night. David Brackett in the Yingling number 38, rounding it out in 18th tonight. Josh McKinney in the 43 tonight. You saw him on track with the Craftsman number 20 and 19th. And rounding out your top 20 in the number 27, we saw him caught up a couple of times in some incidents, Josh Miller.
In 21st, 50 laps down at the end of it, is Scott Fritz. We saw him be competitive through the mid-goings, just got caught up in a couple of incidents. Tanner Webb, likewise, a whole 79 more laps behind Scott Fritz, 129 laps down to the leader is Tanner Webb in 22nd. Tyler Johnson looks so good in the early goings, doesn't even finish, a DNF, of course, 23rd, 140 laps down, and Ed Osborne officially ends up 185 laps down in 24th position, dead last this evening. Before we go, of course, as is usual, we want to thank all of our partners here at PitStop TV, and as is usual, of course, we want to lead off with Tucson Sound Art, your picture, your music. You provide the image you want, and they'll custom create a beautiful framed, high-quality canvas with a built-in Bluetooth speaker. With Sound Art, you get the best of both worlds. Visit TucsonSoundArt.com for additional information. And if you order now, you can get 10% off of your order with Tucson Sound Art by using promo code PitStopTV. Certainly a great deal there. Knocking a tenth of the price off for you is going to go a long ways, and it looks great up on your wall. Literally, you can slap any moment from your life up there, and you're going to have it on your wall forever, of course. And it just looks cool just like that. It'd be cool in and of its own right like that, but also, it plays music. Why wouldn't you want it? It's a really cool concept. Glad to have them on board with us. We also want to thank Permanent Makeup and Cryo in Maine. When it comes to your appearance, you deserve the best care that money can buy. At Permanent Makeup and Cryo in Maine, the owner, Ashley Bollier, is a certified micropigmentation specialist who provides professional, safe, and personalized services. You can contact Permanent Makeup in Cryo in Maine at permanentmakeupinmaine.com or call or text them at 207-358-8683. And if you're looking for the best solutions for your permanent makeup concerns, give them a call today to book a consultation. Finally, Whiplash Media has been there for us, and they are our new parent organization that specializes in various sim racing resources, including paint schemes, stream overlays, iRacing, camera packs, and more. Whiplash Media is also working on its presence in real racing, offering services such as photography, social media management, and public relations. Go to whiplash-media.com for more information. And thanks to our social media guy, Noah Carmichael, you can now go to Whiplash-Media to read some great articles. We're going to get some journalistic things happening over at whiplash-media.com as well. It's going to be coming from PitStop TV for the most part, but also just Whiplash Media in general. You see the fireworks going off, a great way to end them this evening, because that will conclude our coverage tonight of the Bluegrass iRacing Series. We at PitStop TV thank you for tuning in and joining us for tonight's action, and we hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. Be sure to join us again Sunday for the Superior Class Auto Racing Cup Series at Atlanta Motor Speedway, and again Monday for the Northwest GT3 Challenge at Brands Hatch. We'll even have Racing Tuesday for Operation Motorsport at Indianapolis, the road course, with those Miatas. That should be a lot of fun. And finally, Wednesday, we have the Bluegrass iRacing Series returning at Talladega Super Speedway. Make sure to follow us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/PitStopTV, over on Twitter at PitStopTV_, on Twitch at www.twitch.tv/pit_stop_TV, and on YouTube by searching PitStop TV. For all of PitStop TV, Joe Donahue on the mic, Noah Carmichael on social media, I am Andrew Cardinale IV for PitStop TV, and we will see you next time. Have a great night. We'll see you all Sunday.